Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan, and today we dig into the facts. Today we figure it out. We get down to brass tacks. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Making it happen. Let's go.
Oh, before we start, we are doing a BDM beach party again.
We're doing it. We're doing the beach party. Let's go.
It just got confirmed this morning in the email.
I just spit everywhere.
Gross.
And if you want the information on the dates and all that, just make sure you're a BDM. Because we mail everybody email.
Whoa. Okay, hold on. You're doing it again.
We will.
Oh, he's doing it again. He said we'll mail everybody $100.
Every active, currently paying BDM will be emailed an invite for two.
If your email address is correct.
Correct. That exactly. Make sure all your information's correct.
Every time you open your mouth, you just set me up to get 1,000 hate mails.
Listen, every BDM will be invited to this party,
except
for that
guaranteed. One guy.
Yeah, and so if you're not a BDM and you want to be invited to these BDM parties, sign up.
Yeah, and it's super easy. Just go to tomandan.com/registration.
I'm excited that we're doing events again and BDM events and stuff.
We got a bunch coming up.
Well, the one we were talking about, beaching it up. That's where it's at.
Oh yeah.
I am ready.
I got to talk to Tony and see if he still got that hotel hookup.
Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn.
Well, that guy went up to Georgia. He's got the cabins.
Yeah.
That was that guy.
Copperhead.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
I just talked to that guy. He's gonna be,
oh, my God.
Yeah, Copperhead is going to be official watering hole.
Copperhead Road.
I want to live at Copperhead.
It was the same guy from La Quinta?
Yeah. From La Quinta to Copperhead.
Oh, all right.
We cover it all.
I think Tony did tell me that.
He probably did.
He probably did. You're going too fast, Andrea. You sound like my wife. My wife this morning broke every appliance in our house. She's going too fast. She broke our bread maker. She dropped the glass thing to our blender that shattered everywhere.
She's fast momming.
Yeah, she is fast momming. I got to get her to slow down.
Too much to do.
There's too much to do. I don't do anything. So when you don't do anything and then you're only relying on one person to do everything, and then you know how hard it is for me to gaslight her while she's doing everything?
Yeah. Listen, I understand. I'm moving too fast too. Like literally.
Well, you're the Andrea.
The lady just sent an email saying we could do that. I'm like, it's happening.
Let's go.
There probably should be some.
Stamp it. We haven't done anything yet.
You know what Tom did? I'm speaking to our guest.
One
now.
email.
You know, he looked at me. He goes, "How do you spell? Let's go."
It probably could fall through. I mean,
it could
always fall through. What are we talking about?
It was a loose maybe.
Yeah,
you already announced that.
Everything we do is a loose maybe. Everything we do, we are the
That's
kings.
A number 6.
That is a number 6. We are the kings of loose maybe. Put that on a shirt. We have a guest. This is really, really cool. You might have heard us flapping our, I was going to say flapping our D-assers. No. You know what? I'm going to stick with it. You might have heard us flapping in here about how we think the gentleman that was on the Today Show that landed the plane, and he said the only reason it happened is that God was on the flight, and he had no experience, and he just landed it. And it was I saw the video. It was a perfect landing. Perfect.
Yeah. It didn't even like whoa, that was close.
Yeah,
like
it wasn't. No, it was just like. Perfect. It sounded like a Tesla. You know, there was no sound at all. Just perfect. It was a perfect landing. And then Tom and I, because we're jaded old men, we're like, that's not real.
So Captain Andrews here. How you doing, Captain?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good.
You could also call me Captain Sexy Cool.
I will not call you that.
Hold on a second. Captain Sexy Cool.
Don't do jokes, Andrew.
Hold on.
It's not your bag.
I'm going to do a joke, too. If you're watching this on Twitch or YouTube, if you look down now, I just changed his little Chiron to say Captain Sexy Cool. Yeah. That's how it happens, right there.
So, Andrew.
Is that a TLC reference?
Captain Sexy Cool.
That's my deal.
Tell us about
That's my deal.
Your pilot experience.
Okay. So, went to Embry-Riddle for, university.
That's where terrorists go. Oh, my God. My grandfather.
Yeah, they don't want you to know that.
Hey,
they're probably like,
I'm not the terrorist. Anybody but the terrorist at the flight school.
So then, once you go through flight school, you got to find your first job. And there's a bunch of like entry level, no experience kind of jobs, but flight instructing is like the main one around here. That's what most people do.
Okay.
So I started flight instructing, not at Riddle, but at another like little mom and pop school, which was a better situation.
Wait a
than
minute.
flying,
Well, did you
flying
go
for the machine.
straight from learning to instructing? Like,
No, yeah, that's how it works.
hold on, I thought you have to do it.
Some hours.
No.
Well,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just learned.
So, yeah,
you're going to teach someone else?
That's the industry.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
we take our least experienced
Well, now I'm
pilots,
more scared to
That's-
fly. I
and
don't know
then
about
we
anybody
teach
else.
everybody else how to fly.
Sounds like a pyramid scheme. Like, I learned how to sell, and I'm going to teach you how to sell.
I'll bring you
Hold
under
on.
my wing.
Did you do any selling? No, I learned, and then now I teach.
Who would have thought that what you just said was scarier than the terrorists?
Yeah. So what happens is they'll do that as the first job. You get experience, you get hours, and you're trained on that kind of stuff. So it's not like you I just learned how to land, so I'll just stay one lesson ahead of the student.
I'm your instructor,
You
but
know,
I
like-
specialize in taking off.
Yeah.
I don't know anything
Yeah.
about the landing.
It's the guitar teacher method, right? You just stay one lesson ahead.
Yeah.
But no, so they're qualified. They have a little bit of experience. You got to have so many hours to even be an instructor or whatever.
Okay.
So you start that, and then most people just do that the least amount of time as they can, and then go to a regional airline or go find some other job. But I did it for a lot longer. I did it for like 5 years.
Okay.
Which is a lot longer than most pilots do it nowadays.
So you're a 5-year flight instructor. So you've taught a lot of people how to fly. Like, how many people would you say in 5 years?
Hundreds.
Anybody
Okay.
famous?
Yeah.
Have you ever anybody famous? Do you teach Andy Dick how to
Okay,
fly?
so
or-
About John Travolta.
you're in-
He
Yeah.
flies with you.
He knows how to
John
fly better than
Krasinski.
Captain
so
Andrew.
you're an artman, a man of the arts.
Oh, yeah, I'm a man of the
Uh,
arts. Yeah, that's what they. Well, I mean, no, I don't like to say that out loud because some people get jealous. But yes, I am an artman.
Yeah. So Henri Matisse.
Henri Matisse.
You know the name?
Oh my
Yeah.
God!
I taught his grandson, who's also a painter.
His grandson, Jerry Matisse.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
I like how you mentioned a famous person and you'd be like, I taught his third cousin.
It's a regular butler over here.
He taught Henri Matisse, his grandson, Jerry
yeah.
Matisse.
Have you ever heard of Brad Pitt? I'm like, oh my God, yes, I have. I taught his neighbor,
Yeah.
Dave.
Dave Grunch.
No one even knows him. Anyway.
So that's as close as I got. So I did
All
that
right.
for a long time, and then now I fly private jets. I've been doing that for a few years, but before that, I was all instructor.
Wait
That
a
was my
minute. You
full-time
fly
job.
private jets? Can we charter one and
Yeah.
fly somewhere just so we look like Big D's?
Yeah, you got the money. Let's
How
do it.
much to?
Well, yeah, what does
how
it
much
cost
just to
there?
go to Tampa and back?
So if you were to, it depends on how big of a, we're on
The cheapest one.
we want the cheapest one, and we just want to
but
fly
as
it.
long as it's in the category
Yeah.
of private jet.
This
Yeah,
is what
okay.
I want to do.
So the
Cheapest pri-
cheapest private jet.
I want to take off here at Executive, fly to Tampa, get a Mexican pizza, and fly back.
No, we're gonna go to.
No, I want to do something
Mons
silly.
Venus.
Yeah, we're gonna go to a
Okay,
strip
Mexican
club.
pizza. And
Wait.
Mons Venus, then Mexican
Yeah,
pizza.
don't do the other way.
So if you found like the shadiest broker you could and got
Yeah.
like a real Junko airplane,
Real Junko. Hold on a second. Write down Real Junko.
because they're out there. Yeah,
Okay, I
they'll
got
sell
that.
you those.
Great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
I
like-
know that. I
You're
know
not even
everybody.
gonna- you're not going to want to fly a Junko.
No. But if you got to pay. But anyway, so maybe like $5 or $6 grand.
Dude,
to-
that's so
for like
doable.
half an hour of jet
Alright,
charter
for
That's
one
like
private
that.
Junko. Well, do we have to pay the pilot?
That's all included.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Hey,
Junko for money.
do tip your pilots though.
Oh,
How
how
much?
much?
$100 standard.
Oh, well,
Oh.
that seems too little.
Oh, keep on going. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
we-
he's flying a Junko.
Hey, 20%. You know.
do I palm it to him? Because I like the handshake palm
Yeah.
with the
I
money
think he
inside.
holds his hat out. And you put it in his hat like a homeless person.
So,
Right?
Yeah. No, you palm it like y'all are doing something.
Why
shady,
don't
'cause you
pilots
probably
wear
are.
shorts?
That's what I
No,
want
I'm
to know.
serious.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It is
Good
a
question.
it's less
Good question.
professional.
Thank you.
It's less professional.
I think like a little shorts and a little Ed short sleeve shirt with those little things, the little admiral patches you guys
Oh,
put
yeah,
on
yeah,
your.
on the below
Yeah,
deck.
it's like you guys have the elitist shoulder pads that have
So
like
they
marks on
do.
them.
So every once in a while, we'll go fly down to like Miami or West Palm Beach or whatever, and you'll
Yeah.
see the guys that are flying seaplanes back and forth.
Now
from the
we're
Caribbean.
talking
They're in
Columbia
shorts.
shirts.
Oh, like you
Columbia
fly
shirt.
a seaplane, you're
Yeah.
in shorts?
You're in your
If you're-
shorts, and every time I look, I'm like, oh.
If you
I
fly
wish
a
I could do that.
seaplane, you dress just like a man who loves his IPAs. You know, like Columbia shirt, cargo shorts, flattened brown sandals.
So, Andrew, you have a lot of experience and a lot of flight instructing experience. So you have seen, because this is important too, because I feel like without being a flight instructor, maybe like a regular pilot would forget how little the average person or the person just beginning knows,
Yeah.
you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And then maybe you get so grizzled, and once you're Captain Sully, you're like, oh, anybody could do this because I'm Captain
What's your
Sully.
grizzled level?
pretty. It doesn't take long.
Pretty grizzled.
Yeah.
So let's move to the topic in hand that we've been
At-
talking about.
at hand.
No, it's in hand. I put my
Get it
top
in your hand, man.
I put my
He
top
wrote it. He
in
wrote
my
it
hand.
in his hand. Yeah.
I put airplane. So,
What is happening?
Oh my god, I'm gonna pass out
so,
because my blood pressure's all screwed up.
so Andrew, with this guy who claimed he landed just off the instruction of a flight instructor that was talking to him in
Via air traffic control.
Air traffic controller flight instructor who's probably a little bit more amateur than your grizzled flight instructor.
All right.
I'll
all right.
add. Yeah.
So you're saying that that person has less experience than you do.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. If I had to bet.
So
I like your confidence.
So now this person's story, as told on the Today Show, because he did do an interview.
By Savannah Guthrie.
And my wife reminded me last night because we were talking about this with my sister-in-law because she came over for dinner and I was
nice.
interviewing her about this whole situation.
Leave her alone. She's just trying to have dinner.
Oh, your wife loves it when you interview her while she's having a portobello steak.
And she did mention that he did say, because for a second I thought that maybe it was just the media sensationalizing this whole story and the media was telling him or making it seem like he had less experience than he did.
Say
but
that the grandpa died.
he said in the interview that he had no flight experience whatsoever, right? And that he had flown this airplane many times, but he had no experience or training. So we're going off the bat that he's got probably more experience than us because he's flown in these planes before, but no official training whatsoever. And his story was the pilot, passed out from some cardiac event.
Now, I read that it was a
Is that what they
heart
said now?
aneurysm.
Okay.
I finally,
yeah?
I don't know if that's true or not, but I read,
So-
I've been trying to find what happened, but I got heart aneurysm.
So now I'm changing my story or my theory a little bit in the fact that I now am leaning more towards, I do believe the actual pilot, and this wasn't a staged event from the very beginning, but the pilot actually did have some sort of medical problem and then wasn't able to fly the plane. But my theory still... I still contend that the guy who landed the plane had way more experience than he let on, and he sensationalized it by saying he had no experience.
You know what
Like,
I
he
alluded
knew what
to?
he was doing more.
I alluded to when you're like, that there's a big band. Let's say like a Elton John, right?
Yeah.
An Elton John stage band, and then you'll hear that. Oh my God. Elton John's drummer is retiring. Can you believe that? His drummer of over 25 years is retiring. And then you find out who's taking his place is typically the drum tech.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like the guy that had been setting them up for years. He's not doing the drums, but he damn sure is around it enough to know exactly what to do.
You can't even tell
and
the
you
audio
can slide
difference.
right in.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
like some light bulb went off in my head, and I'm like, I wonder if just through repetition. If you and I just sat in a plane every day on the way to work, through just routine repetition of having to do that, if I'd pick up enough knowledge to land the plane, through that in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I think I could.
So let's ask Andrew. So what is your opinion on the gentleman's story and the incident that happened that we've been talking about?
As much as I want to disagree with you guys, I think you're onto it that it all probably went down as they told it. Like, I don't think there's some big conspiracy at hand here, like the pilot's in on it or the air traffic controller.
Tom might have thought that in the beginning.
Because they weren't saying,
second.
because how often does someone just have an event and pass out unconscious? Say like it seemed weird.
It did.
Without them explaining that, okay, he had a cardiac aneurysm. That'll make you pass out.
And like lack of information, right? So I don't even know the heart thing. I guess that's new to me. Last I heard,
Well,
it was
it's
still,
unconfirmed.
radio
Well, no,
silence there.
I'm
Oh,
reading
did you
the
find
doctor at the hospital said the patient underwent surgery for an aortic dissection, a life-threatening
Yuck.
emergency in which a tear occurs in the inner layer of the body's main artery.
Oh, I think
Okay,
I'm having that right now.
so he
It has a
had
high mortality rate without surgical treatment, so he had to
Okay.
go into surgery.
So
Oh,
he
damn.
did.
That'd be a big conspiracy,
So
yeah.
that is true. So the
Yeah.
pilot did have an event and couldn't fly, and this guy
he was
this
having
guy-
a problem, as you
Yeah,
say.
Aortic
That's
dissection.
so- yeah.
Yuck.
So I guess what I'm going to say is zero experience, never, nothing about airplanes, ain't going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying
But
all right.
now, he's been sitting up there probably in the front, going back and front, to the
Yeah, he
Bahamas
flies
and
there
back.
all the
He's
time.
like watching,
Never go
paying
back
attention.
to front. That's how you get a UTI.
And the pilot, I'm sure, let him take because once you're up there, I
Yeah.
think it's common
Oh,
for the
yeah.
pilot to be like, hey, you want to just take the
Hold
wheel?
that
Do
thing.
you
And
get
Hey,
that with
hey,
your
watch this.
passengers?
Yeah, so like when I take friends up and stuff and go fly in small airplanes,
Yeah.
sure, yeah, hey, give it a shot.
I
Not
hear
like the jets,
and
but-
they get the feel like turning a little bit, and
Yeah.
you kind of get a feel for how a plane flies, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which doesn't take long to get the basics of it, of like, oh, up and down, left and right. I can do that.
I think I could do
so
that.
between that and just sitting there and watching everything, I'm gonna say still unlikely, but possible.
When
I
you're
mean,
flying, how often?
I'm not gonna say it didn't
When
happen.
you're flying your jet or when you've flown smaller
Mm-hmm.
aircraft, how often do you look around and see God?
no.
Andrew,
Okay.
don't.
So God's hand was not on.
Okay,
So-
I just want to confirm. I'm just doing a little more research.
Andrew, you were my wife's client, the pilot that. Okay, that's another pilot. There's a lot of pilots out there.
Whoa! Please
So-
do not
What do
bring
you think?
up.
All pilots look the same?
No,
Come
no,
on.
Weren't you the pilot
I can't
that
remember.
cuckolded me?
No.
We're in
hedonism.
Hold on a second. I remember you.
I was looking through a shoulder
I'll
mount, so
never
you look a
forget
little.
your
I was
captain's
blindfolded
hat.
the whole time. I don't know.
I put your captain's hat on and pull your pants down so I can see your frog ass.
Anyway, so she was talking to a client of hers who was also a pilot, and then he didn't believe it and gave me this basically a similarity that he compared it to someone getting into a manual car, right, and driving it
this.
without any experience perfectly for the first time. And then I was like, wow.
That would be
Well,
damn near impossible.
Well, you would think that they would stall out. It would
well,
be.
they wouldn't know how to feather the clutch or
Yes,
any of
yeah,
that.
because
you know? Yeah.
So
And
that
not that you're just doing it, but doing it perfectly the first time.
yeah.
So
So
not stalling,
And imagine
not grinding the
now.
gear.
Hold on a second. Stalling a car. You know, let's say you're. I mean, if you could apply the same level of danger to it, right? I mean, that it'd be really dangerous to stall a car, right? If it were a plane, is what I mean. Like,
Oh,
if you
yeah,
could
yeah.
apply
But
the same.
now there's no clutch on an airplane and that kind. But the similarity or the comparison gave me an idea of there's some finesse to it, and that's what I was going to ask you is. When there's landing a plane, because I talked to my sister-in-law about this, and she said, she's like, well, as long as you're flying straight, you could be talked, like going through the steps to landing. And she's like, I think that it's possible, just like you're saying, like you could talk someone into the steps of landing a plane. Now, as long, she didn't believe that the guy was in a total nosedive, because she was saying, like, if you're in a
I
total...
want the full Bugs Bunny.
Well, apparently, if you're in a total
Pieces are
nosedive,
flying off the airplane.
Yeah.
even if you pull up, there's a secondary stall that happens that you need to keep from happening, because the secondary stall, then you go into, and then you're dead.
Oh, man.
So then she was explaining about
Secondary stall.
pulling out of nosedive. She's like, I don't believe he did that. So maybe exaggerated about how much nosedive they were in. Maybe they were just descending a little bit. Because she's like, if they were in a nosedive, no way an amateur pulls it out without stalling again. Is that true?
Yeah, there's two.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how technical you want to get here, but there's
Real
two.
technical.
There's
Yeah.
a window.
How
okay?
technical can you get?
Well, I mean, we can be here all day, and you guys be asleep.
Well, let's
and I'll-
be
I'll
here
keep-
all
I'll
day.
keep going.
All
okay?
right. Well, you're here, Captain Sexy Cool. Let's do this.
Yeah. So there's a window. So you try to pull out too fast, and you can stall it, or you could just pull the wings off because you over G it, or you pull out too slow and you go way down too fast, and then everything's falling apart because you're going too fast.
Oh,
so
man.
there's like
Overg and the
window
wings
in
off
there.
sounds horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I like with the manual comparison, not too bad. But you mentioned the other day something about like docking a boat. How hard would it be to dock a boat the first time with just instruction? There's a little bit of comparison there, I think, as far as like the feel that it takes and being able to anticipate what's going to happen and doing it right.
Because I'll tell you, every time I dock my boat, nothing's the same about it.
Yeah.
And then
There's
I'm always
variants.
coming in
Yeah.
too fast. Well, usually I'm drunk. It depends on how high I am. And then I
What?
come in too fast.
What's
and then,
wrong, Sam?
I don't think that's how it's supposed to work, but okay.
But I'm just
I
telling
mean,
you the truth.
Wait, you want him to spend a whole day on the river and come back completely sober?
And then
What good is that?
I never do the cool, like I see on like
where you
other.
stop?
Well, yeah, where like the pilots swing it in.
Yeah, I've seen the guys that do that.
And then so
And they lift the back up while it's like it's kind of coming
Yeah,
around
yeah.
and they raise the motor.
So I always reverse too soon, and then I don't. And then my wife, I'm like, grab that boat, and then
Yeah.
Oh.
she's going, what do I have? Does that happen all the time? Should I not drink any diet soda anymore?
You
Maybe
should go
not.
to the actual doctor.
No,
I
no,
went
no.
there. They said fine.
No, you didn't go to a real doctor.
I
You went
went-
to a Centricare. That doesn't count.
I went to an ear, nose, and throat, and he's looked at my throat. He said fine.
Yep, you got one.
Yeah.
You also have ears and nose.
Anyway, Okay, so it's different every time, but there is some reversing at the right time, knowing how heavy and fast your boat is, and coming up realizing the plane.
And there's a lot of variables there too, right? Like with the boat dock, if it's just totally calm, no current, no wind, a lot easier than if the current's howling one way and the wind's howling the other way, right? It makes a huge difference.
All right.
And so, if you've never done it before and you're coming in and everything's like perfect conditions and totally pristine, maybe, you could get away with it. But if it's going crazy, that's where the experience comes in, right? Where you have to have that feel and have to have done it before. Same thing with landing.
Also, another thing somebody pointed out was the likelihood of being able to land this, because they obviously had to give this guy a straight shot and clear everything out of the way, right? So the likelihood of you doing it without all of that under control, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a lot harder because you're going to be crisscrossing other aircraft. It's a lot scarier when you start.
And so I looked at the weather that day, like that afternoon when you actually landed it, and I'm like, well, if it's totally calm, then maybe, because I saw the 2-second video, or whatever, of him landing where he comes in, and
it's like a good landing.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't like exactly what you want to see, but poop, he puts it on, he stays on the runway. But if it's like real gusty and real windy, no way is somebody, even if they could like make it to the runway and get close, you're not keeping it on the runway if you don't have that experience to like fight the gusts and land it in a crosswind. And sure enough, like the weather that afternoon, pretty good crosswind, little gusts. So
he lucked out with the weather.
Well, no, I'm saying it was windier.
You do not want to give this man credit for nothing, do you?
Yeah, no. So, no, I'd say it was kind of windy there that day, a little bit of crosswind, which makes me think like, man, he right in the middle and he kept it on the runway, no problem.
Maybe it's just
I would
a
expect him
natural,
to at least like go off into the grass a little bit, or you see him
I do that on Flight Simulator. I have not done a landing on Flight Simulator where I have not gone into the grass. I need grass.
Okay.
I mean, I'll land. I'm like, whoa, okay, we're in the grass. All right, we're good.
So maybe he has landed in some other, maybe the Bahamas. I mean, in the Bahamas you can get away with a lot. There's no, there's a pelican up there.
No, you can see the airports in some of these Bahamas.
You can like chop a donkey's head off in the Bahamas.
So
nobody cares.
If you knew the pilot and you're like, hey, take the controls and land this for
Yeah, let me give it a try.
I don't think I'd do that though. I don't want to ruin my vacation by having the guy like put me on the
this guy,
ocean.
I mean, he was a confident Floridaman. You could tell by his demeanor
calm.
That he was calm, and that he, I'm sure, has had some sort of unrecorded flight experience with his buddy on the plane.
Well, you can hear when he first calls up, right? Because actually, another thing I was thinking about, do we have the audio of the actual controller talking
Yeah, there's
down?
an email about that from our buddy Mike. Like, he talks about how there is lingo that this guy knows.
Yes.
He also
Well,
goes
so-
like
the initial
2022 or something
Yeah,
is
well,
like, hey,
that's what I was
is
going to say. Well,
did
the
I get
initial,
that right?
yeah, the initial
See,
audio.
I'm a pilot.
The only audio I've heard is where they're trying to like find him. And, he comes on and he's like, hey, we got a problem here, and they're looking for him. But I haven't actually heard the audio of the controller, like turn left, come down, power out. Is that audio out there? I haven't heard
I think so,
I think the full call or
it's
whatever
out.
is out. I just haven't listened to it.
Because that would be telling, to actually hear the controller giving him instructions on how to land the thing. I've only heard.
Go snag that email if you don't mind.
think
that'd be
if you
cool
got
listening.
it, like, because Michael kind of goes through the steps of the stuff that we need.
So when he first calls up with the proper lingo. He's like, this is Caravan November 333 Lima Delta. How would you know how to say that if you've never been up in the cockpit listening to him on the radio?
Yeah.
And how would you even know, would you even know where the button is to talk on the
I wouldn't
radio?
know anything.
No, I don't
Yeah,
know
he comes
that.
on, keys up the mic, and talking like he's a regular pilot all of a
I'd be
sudden.
looking for a parachute.
So what it seems to me
and to
is
jump out the side.
I'd just be slapping the pilot.
Wake up, please.
this
Not
is
now.
oh what was he saying?
So I said the pilot thing, 100% a real emergency. I listened to the ATC recording. The passenger who took control was not a pilot based on his responses, but was definitely sitting right seat on flights and learned operations from flying frequently. On some planes, a single pilot is required instead of two pilots, and the passenger sits right seat at the controls, although passive. The dude must have sat right seat in the Cessna Caravan often and learned a lot traveling to and from the Bahamas. Listening to the ATC, dude calls for help as 333 Lima Delta, which means he understands radio jargon. The dude definitely spent time in headsets listening to ATC on flights. He later says 10-4 multiple times, which a pilot would never say, putting doubt he was an actual pilot. He is familiar with certain aspects of flying, but clearly not licensed or experienced based on the transcript. He put 7700 into the transponder, which means he's familiar with the cockpit controls to some degree.
The old
7700 means having an emergency and alerts ATC. He also knew he was descending at 550 feet per minute, which means he understood the gauges.
Yeah, he was very specific on that kind of stuff. And yeah.
ATC asked he hit the ident button. Dude was confused, proving again he had limited knowledge of the cockpit. Anyone with training knows the ident button is on the navigation panel.
Duh.
The long short, Tom could land the plane. The runway is as wide as a Walmart and over a mile long. When an emergency is declared, the plane has a red carpet to the airport and all other aircrafts are diverted. ATC tells you what to do. Under normal circumstances, no way Tom could land a plane, no way without extensive training. It involves charts, processes, experience, routine.
So, do you agree with everything this gentleman said, Andrew?
Nah, I forgot most of it already.
Long
this guy-
email.
I
He
love
tuned
that.
out.
This
This
guy's
guy,
great,
yeah.
wise-ass
Yeah.
pilot. I love
Short
wise-ass
attention
pilot.
span,
Yeah.
No, yeah, I do agree. Though, like the charts and stuff, you don't need all that. I think I could talk you down, and because there is different levels of like how quickly people pick this thing up. So if you're mechanically inclined, like if you can ride a motorcycle or drive a boat, or if you're good at that kind of thing, you're going to pick it up faster than.
I don't know if
somebody
you
who has
know
none
this,
of
but
stuff.
Tom and I are bikers. Straight
Yeah.
up Florida biker trash.
Yeah. Well,
What about scuba diving? Does that have anything to do
Are we
with
scuba
it?
divers too?
Oh, yeah.
We're scuba diving bikers.
So if you're good, if you kind of have a natural ability to it, you're already on a better foot than somebody who's like us all asses and elbows, like trying to figure out how to even fly this thing.
Right.
I can get you close, I think. Probably, find the airport like you did. Try to line up with the runway like you did. The rest is going to be up to you, how quickly you picked up that feel for it. Maybe get you on the runway. Maybe you broke the plane a little bit, semi-crash landing, you're off in the grass, you tore a wheel off,
Yeah, I
something
think
like
if-
that.
I
Okay,
think I
yeah.
could get it.
But
I
you're
think I come
fine.
in hot.
Yeah, you might be able to walk away, but for that to just be perfect.
Like, I think I'd come in hot and everybody's luggage would just be blown. We'd be all right.
So-
But I think tires would explode. you
So
know.
I know some of the people are like, "Why do you care? Stop talking about it. Who cares?"
No, never stop talking about it.
But this goes to show an example of things that happen all the time that we should look at more closely, because like the story was presented to us, especially in the news and the media.
Oh,
and
immediately
stories
it
we
was
hear.
like, oh my God, look at what happened.
Because this is a classic example to me of just sensationalizing a story to make it more interesting, right? Because the reality seems to be, and Andrew can agree or disagree, that this gentleman has had multiple flights to the Bahamas on this plane or a style of this plane, has sat up in the cockpit, has talked to the pilot, has had experience with what's going on.
Yeah, I think he has even said that, though.
Yeah, but and then
They want to spin it like he was clueless and he landed it, and
But
that's just not the truth.
if he was totally honest, which I'm sure the Today Show's producers had told him, like, hey,
Coached her.
or at least maybe said, like,
Guided
hey, let's
gently.
just, you've had no flight training, and he's like, yes, that's correct.
Technically,
but,
no.
yeah, because if he was
It's
totally
semantics.
honest,
I'm not lying.
He would
Right.
probably say, I've been up in this plane for 100+ hours. I've talked to the pilot multiple. I've interviewed him. If he's anything like me, he's asking what everything does. And then he's also, I've taken the controllers. I've felt I've asked the pilot what to do during all
I
this
picked
stuff.
his brain.
I picked his brain, and through hundreds of hours of just sitting in the cockpit and messing around with the controllers, I was able to land the plane with them talking me down.
Because a lot of it has to do with
And then-
chirping, right? If this guy's a chirper, he may have gained enough knowledge through
Yeah.
chirping to actually do
He's up there
this.
chirping, drinking White Claws
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
cockpit
yeah.
for years. And
Yeah.
then you pick up a
Now,
little bit.
that story, if he said it like that, less interesting. And the headlines
Oh, but
less
I'd be
interesting.
like,
and
there it
everything.
is.
And
Yeah.
then, but it's truthful. And then the media, and they do this with everything, by the way, sensationalize stuff to make it more interesting. Are they reporting the truth? Did this guy have no flight lessons? Yes. Did this guy have 100+ hours sitting in the cockpit
Yeah.
and knew this airplane and
Maybe.
knew some of the
Yeah,
stuff?
maybe so.
And has flown before, not officially, but with his buddy or whatever?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
looks like he has.
It looks like maybe so.
And so, but you know what? I think this does a disservice to like people understanding the complexity of flying an airplane, because now dodos hear that story and be like, well, then if he can do it, I can do it with no training. And
Yeah,
then
but that's exactly what you would say.
Well,
So are you calling yourself a dodo?
But it had nothing to do with this actual incident. He's
Right,
always
sure,
thought that.
exactly.
Well,
there's no difference in that.
I screamed that only when they were reporting the story, which everybody thought was true at the time, which is this guy had no flight experience. He just landed a plane easily. And then I was like, well, that's got to be
That's not
some
true.
sort of an
Yeah.
exaggeration, because I don't think it's that easy. But let me add last question. Besides from the crosswinds, is there any other finesse or feel that you need to land an airplane, or if you follow the steps exactly and then keep the gauges where the instructor is telling you and everything you're telling me in my ear, keep the gauges here, decelerate here, put the flaps up, hit this button,
No, don't put the flaps up. Put them down.
And you're saying that the likelihood of a perfect landing may be slim, but you could probably survive it.
It's all feel. Okay. So if you was like a big airliner, right? Which this scenario would never happen. Two pilots, you're not even going to get in the cockpit. But let's say, dream scenario, they called me and I'm going to land the airplane. Sure, push this button. They could talk you through the autopilot and the computer and how to have it line itself up with the runway. And even some of those big ones will land themselves, right? But small airplanes, or even most airplanes, will say, if you got it on autopilot, they're telling you the buttons to push, giving you the steps. Eventually, you got to turn the autopilot off and just land the sucker. And it takes feel.
Yeah, and that's you.
Yeah, and the smaller the airplane, usually the more feel it takes because there's less automation and everything.
I think I'd be good at it too for my drums, because drums are all about feel.
Even if they had like the autopilot on, they tuned in the navigation radios that lined you up with the runway. Even if you do that, when you turn the autopilot off, you got 10 seconds to all of a sudden learn how to fly, So I would just say you got to do it feel from the beginning because you got 10 minutes to get the feel of it before you come in and land. But eventually, with that landing, even with students, you go up and you spend hours and hours just doing the fundamentals of how do I fly this plane? How do I make it do what I want it to do before you even start working on landings? And even then, it's super hard, okay? So just to go do it the first try.
The chat room is so mean to you. You got Mike B in our Twitch chat room.
Screw you, Mike B.
Twitch.
What do you know? I can land anything better than Mike B.
Mike B says, ATC, my hands are burning and I can't feel the yoke. Help. You going to take that from Mike B?
So have you ever had a student
freak out?
Yeah, like go into a panic or crash.
Like full freak out? You have them like freeze on the controls because a lot of times people, they get just so overwhelmed, they just freeze up and stop doing anything. I
can see that,
In which case, you kind of wrestle it back from them. Like, all right, I got it.
Do you slap their cheeks? You're like, get a hold of yourself, man.
Yeah, it's like airplane.
You
like you got the nun and everybody. Yeah.
Water just pouring down your face.
Do like if you do that, I feel like, well, you can't even be a pilot ever because if
when you get back on the ground, you're like, you don't have what it takes, kid. I told you to be pushing papers.
No, that's the golf is an expensive hobby talk.
Oh, do you do that?
Oh, yeah, I've had that talk before.
Oh, no.
That's not fun. Very rarely.
More guys than girls, right?
What?
I think girls would be better pilots.
I'd be careful.
Andrew knows. Andrew, the big sexy over here.
Did you say big sexy?
I forgot his name. Their arms are too
sexy
weak.
Cool.
They can't do the
How dare you?
They can't do the calculations. You
might get your hair wrapped up in the controls.
I would say it's probably a numbers game, though. There's probably less women that do fly. So,
for sure.
So the numbers might be, there might be worse pilots because there's less of them.
Pull back on the stick. Titties get in the way.
Go on.
There's a lot more big fatso bellies that get in the way of the stick.
What's funny about that is Crystal's aunt, super acclaimed flight instructor.
I thought you were going to say something else, and I'm like, don't say
that. She has been a flight instructor for 25 years or 30 years or something like that, and has taught thousands of students.
Ever told somebody they're too big to take your class?
We had people that they had to pick a bigger airplane to learn to fly in because they're too big for it. Yeah.
That's called the Jaws. We're going to need a bigger boat.
But it's not even the students so much. It's these professional pilots. Years and years of sitting around just eating food, doing nothing in the cockpit.
Sky truckers, right?
Oh, we get some big boys up there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I see these TikTok videos
big
now.
fat pilots?
Now people there are TikTokers or social media influencers that are taking the most dangerous flight in the world. There are
everything's a challenge.
Well,
dangerous flight challenge. It is to raise money for ALS.
Literally, this guy's I'm gonna fly in the most dangerous flight in the world, and it's some airport that's
this is the most expensive piece of sushi in the world, and I'm gonna eat it.
It's in some place in Peru. They have to land. It's a tiny runway on the top of a mountain or whatever, and then and then
there's a graveyard of planes on the other end.
Oh my god.
But it's still, even when I see that, I'm like, well, it can't be that dangerous. There's passengers, there's pilots willing to do it. It may be more dangerous than the rest, but now everything is pretty damn safe, right? With aviation.
Yeah, you got to screw up. A lot of really bad things have to happen at the same time for there to be some serious accident. Yeah.
Well,
What
it's like-
about those guys that were flying the plane and they just chose to, or that one guy that he just chose to end it? He just took the plane right into the
The
mountains.
German guy. Yeah.
Well, now they can't. The pilots can't be in the cockpit by
Alone.
themselves. They
Right.
changed
They
the
did
law.
change it.
Yeah,
But
they
that's
got-
what's good about aviation.
But you
though,
got
when
some
things-
100-pound flight attendant up there. You know, if you really wanted to get, you just knock her out and then you do your
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
but,
that is
Oh,
true.
I thought you were.
Captain
I thought you were being
Sexy Bull, I don't
sexist
know.
again.
No.
I thought you were like
Well,
better than a
maybe a little bit.
250-pound flight attendant. Am I right? Oh, and I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing?
Well, that's a good thing about
And
aviation.
then Sam, I thought you just called him Captain Sexy Hole, which I was like, that's a weird name.
That's my alter ego.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
every time an accident happens, it essentially becomes safer because they start looking at, and then they will try to eliminate the chance of that ever happening again.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
every accident makes aviation safer.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
you just brush it under the rug. I don't want to hear about this one.
Whatever
Except for
happened
that
to that-
737 Max or whatever, and they were just like, yeah, we reworked the code in the computer. It's
Yeah,
fine.
we
It's
moved to
good
0
now.
and a 1 over
Yeah,
there.
it's good. And
yeah.
there were, you know what? Somebody had, they put something wrong in here. We took it out. It's good now. It's all good.
Whatever happened to that plane that disappeared? It was
Malaysian one.
Yeah, the Malaysian.
Yeah.
Did they ever find out what happened with that?
I don't think they want to because it keeps making for good TV. So
I
they're just
oh,
gonna-
it's
they're
still
just gonna-
missing?
They
yeah,
found
they're gonna
some
keep them
stuff.
missing.
Didn't they find some stuff?
Yeah, every season they
Pieces.
find like one more piece. And
Yeah,
this
they
is something
find
to
a
talk
little
about.
bit.
Yeah. So it crashed in the ocean. They
I
just
think
don't know where.
That was probably the same deal as the German guy. I think it was just the captain wanted to end it, and I think that's the most agreed upon theory. He just flew off, sailed off into the sunset.
There
you
are
know?
other ways to do that without taking, all the people with you.
Yeah, that's a dick
yeah,
move
what's
for
an
sure.
insane way?
That's a crazy way to do that. That's
You
a
think-
statement.
Not a lot of sane
Yeah.
people being like,
That's a
I think I'll
statement
kill
piece.
myself in the airplane.
Definitely a
Yeah.
statement piece.
You
Yeah.
think we would have a way more I wonder whether is it an uproar about people checking the mental health of pilots?
There
Okay,
probably
no,
is.
actually, there's a huge uproar about it in the aviation community right now. in
Really?
that- yeah, so the FAA, zero tolerance, basically. So if you have any sort of mental health issue that you even think you might have,
Zero tolerance for crazy.
yeah, they're grounding you, right?
Yeah,
But we're all people. And so if you do feel like you're getting a little depression or whatever, I mean, I'm not anxiety man.
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
I don't,
I
I'm
would
like,
hope
I
you
don't know
wouldn't
what he's
be.
talking about.
You're a pilot.
Yeah.
But people that do can't do anything about it. And so you either get help and you lose your career, or you just keep your
You
mouth
hide
shut.
it.
You hide it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you swallow it down, and you just keep on going until something like this happens.
There's a pilot flight where I was like, I feel crazy today. Oh, this guy doesn't know. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I gotta hide this. So
Yeah, so there's a big movement for to force the FAA into allowing pilots to go to therapy, which
Well, you walk on
can't even do.
you're the flight
yeah,
attendant.
but I want the therapist to tell us what he
Yeah.
said.
You're the flight attendant. You're coming on board. You're wheeling your little case
Where
on
on
board,
the-
and you're like, "Good morning, Captain." And he's like, "Can't talk now, hiding my crazy."
Yeah, it was spectrum.
So Andrew, when do we get rid of humans and we just have robots do this?
I'm really hoping it's the day after I retire.
Oh, well, I know. I'm not saying it's happening anytime soon
Yeah.
because, but
We'll start
it
with
seems-
robot co-pilots, right? Like you'll get a droid, like Luke Skywalker.
No, that's what it'll go to single pilot operations first, and a lot of really small private jets are already doing that. You only have to have one
Yeah.
pilot to fly.
And
it.
then you get a droid, like Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. So it'll probably go to single pilot first, but this story makes single pilot not sound that good anymore. It takes one guy to pass out, but yeah, they got the
Well,
automation.
you know
and
what they
everything.
should do?
And then
They have-
eventually,
Watch this. They put the pilot. He voluntarily links himself in. And then if he starts doing something a little kooky, his robot counterpilot or co-pilot can kill him.
Oh, yeah.
little,
Like if
dart-
if you yank that yoke down and you're going towards the mountains, the robot's like, you should not be doing that. Goodbye.
Yeah, but what if the robot kills you before that just because it's a robot?
Well, it's
that's-
collateral damage. Sometimes you got to do stuff like that. I'm an early adopter. Sorry,
The robot's like, what'd you say? I'm like, nothing, robot.
Smashes your head.
I'm just flying. I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm cool.
Yeah. You're
Oh my
like, you're
God, he
actually-
knows I'm crazy.
You're reading a People magazine, right? And you're reading a story. You're like, that's crazy. And the robot's like, what did you say?
Crazy, crazy.
Did you say you were crazy?
And I saw, and we'll end with this. I saw it was an
You always
experimental-
say that, but we never end with that.
No. I saw
Please end with it.
the first electric airplane.
Yeah.
And it was a smaller, drone size thing, I think, or something like that. And I know there's obviously the weight issue, and with having certain electric planes. But are they talking about that in the aviation world?
yeah, there's talk about it. I mean, right now it's biofuels is the new thing, trying to reduce regular dinosaur oil.
Yeah,
using vegetable oil or whatever they're using to power the planes. And so I think they're trying to do that right now because that's probably more feasible in the short term. But yeah, eventually everything's going to be electric, right?
You think it will be
guess.
like
It's going to have to be eventually.
I just wonder if the physics was like, well, we can't do it because there's no way to get this distance.
too
with
heavy.
this
Oh yeah,
weight
it's
or
super. I mean,
whatever.
the same thing with cars like 10 or 20 years ago. Like, well,
Yeah, I guess
the
you're right,
batteries
yeah.
are way too heavy. You know, they don't hold the charge. We'll never have the distance. But it's probably battery
But I
technology.
think in
that-
big industry and certainly in the military, you're not going to see the electric being used. I don't think because like how do you refuel midair and all these different things that are usable? And
they hang a little, 3-prong electrical
right, like you
cord out there.
couldn't do any of that.
solar
plug it in.
panels. I
and,
mean,
and trust me, you want to get sucked into a wormhole and never get out of watching something. Just watch videos of planes refueling midair. It's insane.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's just crazy.
essentially, I mean, maybe the future technology, you could fly forever following the sun with solar panel technology. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be dope.
I don't think, I guess it's physically maybe impossible with perpetual, like you can't just
Depends on how
use
quickly
the
you
same
can gather
energy
that
as you.
energy.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But I mean, like,
Depends on how big your toilet is on it too. Eventually, you gotta.
I like this guy. He's great.
teach me how to fly.
You're gonna
Andrew.
run it. So I told you that. I put that in the email. We could go do it, fly for like an hour and a half. I can be Mr. Keeling over heart attack pilot, and then I'll just talk you down and see how you do.
Ooh, and I'll dress like the lady.
And no one cares. Like you just do whatever you want. Like
He just pointed at himself. He's Captain Sexy Cool.
That's sexy cool.
If we're putting this out, like then the internet will attack you.
No, you can do that. I'm an instructor. I can teach you. It's not any different than any other
That's his
lesson.
job.
And then we just go to some small airport without a control tower. So if you screw it up real bad, nobody knows. And then,
okay.
I like
Bury
this guy.
it.
My God.
I want to learn how to fly.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. We'll
right.
mimic it. We could do a Twitch broadcast where you guys fly in the plane.
No.
Yeah, I'll get in
I'm
there.
All
not.
right. Daniel will get in.
Yeah.
He's
We
ride
can-
or die.
We'll have Daniel have an
Yeah, guess what? He's gonna die.
Yeah, well, I mean, like,
well, that's part of riding.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Part of the ride is
I mean,
dying.
it's not just die, and it's not just ride.
Daniel, do you think
Well-
you could actually ride in the back while I'm having Tom land an airplane?
Yeah, I think I
You
could.
can-
Oh, I want to
Yeah.
do that move on America's Funniest Video where I dive down and Daniel starts floating like the
Oh yeah,
dog.
we can do that. Yeah.
All right. We gotta go. Okay.
Yes.
Well, Andrew, you got anything to plug? Do you want to?
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, since you're ruining your pilot.
Yeah, I will.
credentials.
So I'm flying private jets right now, but I'm still affiliated with my old flight school back in Daytona. It's called Air America Flight Center. We're a kind of the mom and pop part 61 of the
That's
area.
cool.
So if you just want to come learn how to fly for fun, or just go up, take a discovery flight, and see what it's all about, it's Air America Flight Center in Daytona Beach.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Bye bye.
It is a corporate time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
Samantha, our producer, is here. I love your Tampa Bay Lightning shirt. Hello,
Thank
Sam.
you.
Go Lightning. Where are we at?
They're playing tonight.
They're playing tonight. I'm excited. I'm excited about it. And we're playing the Panthers
Yep.
again, and we're up 1-0
Yep.
on the old Florida Panthers. And boy, Miami, that nobody at that game. They would pan the crowd, and there'd be for a playoff game. I'm like, where are all the people?
Weird. Because
is
you
weird.
think all the Lightning people would travel. You know, it's
There
right
were a
there.
few lightning people
Yeah,
there.
a few more than I expected. It was cool though. If you're not watching,
It
playoff
wasn't
hockey,
sold out?
It didn't look like
Didn't
it.
look like it.
Would you
Crazy.
agree? It didn't. I mean, it could have been.
Tampa's always sold out.
Yeah,
Tampa's
yeah, yeah.
nuts.
Well,
like they're crazy about their hockey.
they won the Stanley Cup before.
Yeah, well, I mean, between them and the Buccaneers, good luck getting a ticket, right? I
Right.
mean, hard.
So you would think that they'd at least travel, and they'd sell it out. Crazy.
I don't know. But anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. We're certainly glad to have you here. You can join us live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live. We have a wonderful live stream that you can be a part of. You can watch, you can chat, hang out, listen to the show. And you want to do some voicemails and emails?
Yep.
Let's jump into the old email bag. Samantha, find your latest and greatest email. We'll start with a voicemail, though. We'll start with this one. Very insulting voicemail to Tom from Zach from Ohio.
Hey gang, it's Zach from Ohio. Tom, I was thinking about the time you flooded your street because you left your trash and recycling on the rain drain. Are you still the last people to take your trash cans up every week?
Insulting.
How dare you, Zach?
I'm going to guess you are still the last people to bring in your
No,
cans.
it
right?
just depends. I'm getting better as I get older. Like I'm becoming a more
That's
respectable
what old
neighbor.
ladies say. Hold on. That's what every old lady says, or at least she has some sort of plaque in her kitchen that says that. It's like, I'm not old, I'm just experienced.
where I will, as soon as I get home from work, I'll see the trash cans out, and I'm like, better do it now, because every once in a while I'll be stressed out or like,
Yeah, you're like always stressed out.
and then I'll go inside, and if I don't take the trash cans in, then it'll be days. Because,
Days?
Yeah, because then I'll see them, and I'm like, oh, I got to do that. But then I want to push my problems away. That's my natural instinct.
Okay.
It's kind of like a tiger. Like, they can never be tamed.
You're the Tiger King.
Yeah, that's what they call me.
Yeah, it's weird. You have the same haircut, too. For those of you that don't know what Tom looks like, he looks like a gay, gun-toting tigerman.
Is that my instinct is to
Yes.
always be bad at life and to always procrastinate my like everything, put everything away, push it back, do it later. And I have to fight that every day of my life. And then when I see the trash cans,
And you
I'm
don't
like,
have
do
city
it now.
cans, right? Like, you have different.
All different.
You have, like, mismatch. You have, like, how many cans you running? I'm running a 1-can system.
I have 6 cans.
God
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah, like I have 1 can. I have the one black
Yeah.
city-provided can, and then I have a burgundy or maroon recycle can.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I got
2
one
cans.
trash can, one recycle
Yeah,
can.
this guy's running 6. That's just
Yeah,
trash.
yeah.
Well, how many recycle are you running?
I got 3 all different, which is
Wow.
hard to do. I got
so you got the cardboard one, the
You're
glass
running.
one, the
hold on,
aluminum one.
No, I don't do
You're running
cardboard.
9 cans total. 9 cans.
I've got 1 fancy boy.
What does that even mean?
Well,
That's what I put out when
yeah.
I have little trash.
Yeah.
I put the fancy boy.
He went to Bed Bath & Beyond and bought the fancy. But my wife hates it when I buy the expensive ass ones that come with like matching lids.
Well, no, the fancy boy has the lid that's attached and the wheels.
Oh
right?
yeah, you gotta have them wheels.
So then-
And don't let a rat.
That's like the county gives you.
A rat will gnaw a hole in the bottom of those, and you gotta put some Flex Seal on the bottom.
Then I have 1 bright blue brute.
Oh, I know the brute.
Yeah.
I know exactly
Like
the
a
one you
janitor.
Yeah.
thick, bright
Like a-
blue brute.
got. Like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
Yeah.
Big brute.
And which I bought for recycling, and then I realized
And they're like,
because
"You
it's
can't use it."
because it's blue, and that's a recycling blue.
Yeah.
And they were like, "We will not take the recycling in this bright blue.
Yeah,
you have to put it in the green cracked square."
Yeah.
Anyway, so then I have 1 WWE
Metal.
Yeah, metal.
That's called a
You got a
traditional.
metal
Yeah,
trash
got a
can?
metal.
That's called the OG traditional.
Yeah. I got 1 traditional
Yeah.
and dented
Like
crazy.
the stereotypical
Or,
raccoon trash can.
Sometimes that's referred to as the old 76er. It's like an old 1976
Yeah.
aluminum trash can. If you take off the handles, you can start slapping Brutus the Barber beefcake right in the head.
Yeah. It looks like you slapped the beefcake 10 times with it dented,
Yeah.
like all rusty in the
But
bottom.
the good thing about an aluminum trash can is you can get inside of it and punch out the dents.
Yeah.
And it'll last forever, man.
Yeah. So then I've got that, and then I've got a couple rando cheap brutes.
The black ones.
Yeah,
Gray
yeah.
top, black
they're
and
not,
gray top.
They're not as thick as the brute.
Thin boys.
Yeah. They're thin boy brutes,
Yeah.
and they're all cracked, and I had to drill holes in the bottom because they would collect water.
Too much water.
And the
This
mosquitoes.
guy knows.
So those.
But the holes will also leak out some of your drippings
Yeah,
from
yeah.
like your hams, the ham
Oh,
drippings,
yeah.
and then the rats will gnaw the holes bigger, and then you got a can that literally is just a solo cup with no bottom.
Yeah. Then I put all of my cardboard in between the trash cans, like.
You're like a filing, like it's organized.
Yeah.
You're supposed to bundle that.
No, I know. That's why. That's why
You're
they hate
supposed
me.
to wrap it with twine.
That's why I
Have
hide.
you tipped them out yet?
I have not.
Dude, this is 3
I-
weeks.
I
You
did-
promised you would.
I did see them coming down the street,
And then
then
you
you
hid in
hid.
your house?
no, I ran.
We're doing it again.
I ran inside. I was like, "Do you have money?" To my wife. And she's like,
Hide it.
No, she
They're
was like-
coming.
She was like, "I don't have any cash," and I was like, "God damn!" Then I had to hide because they were
So
coming.
we were
Where'd
right.
hide?
You did
Well,
hide.
what's weird is he hid in the bushes and they saw him the whole time. He's like peeking. They're like, "We see you."
How do you have so much trash?
I don't know. That's what I screamed to
His
my
whole
wife and my
garage is
kids.
trash. It's all trash.
We produce an insane amount for my wife. Is,
Amazon addiction.
Like, she is a pet lover, and she always complaining about the environment and stuff. And I'm like, we produce more
Yeah.
trash.
Sounds like it.
than
My
every,
God.
Yeah, it's
You're
so
running
much
a
trash.
9-can system. A 9-can
That is
system.
ridiculous.
Dude, that is egregious. It
it's
is disgusting.
Too much trash.
We need to
I'm
call
like,
your wife, and can we get you down to at least a 6-can 3-and-3 system?
you can call her.
I don't want her wrath.
I'm
not opening that door.
Because she'll blame it on me. And
It probably is you.
no, because she's lives there too. So do my kids. They don't do nothing.
Well, is it the Amazon? You say that you guys do fancy
Well,
the
that's
Amazon.
that's
Yeah.
mostly cardboard, though. I'm assuming.
But it's
Yeah,
not
but-
just her. I'm not going to let him do that to her. It's also him. He's always buying toys and
No.
knickknacks and water balloon cannons and all kinds
Oh
of...
man, you know what I
See?
want real bad, and it's on now. It's in my algorithm, and it shows me every day. It just makes me want it more.
What do you want?
Well,
It-
that's marketing. Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's almost like they're... It's almost
They
like
show
they're-
it to me every day, and
what's
now I
the-
want it more
What's
and more.
the word for it? It's almost like they're marketing to my...
Anyway, it's these guns that shoot the little
Blobs,
Orbeez.
the blobs,
Orbeez,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's the Orby challenge that everyone's getting in trouble
No,
with.
but these
No.
guns, they shoot far, far.
I know.
Yeah, they're like, it'll shoot 4,000 feet. I'm like, 4,000 feet?
It looks like a paintball gun because it has all the
Huge
Orbeez
reservoir.
in a like.
What are you gonna do with that, Tom?
I'm going to shoot you, shoot Tom.
Shoot my sons, and then we're all gonna shoot each other. I was gonna buy the 4-pack and then sales for the show, and then
Crystal down with that? I
No.
thought she hated guns.
Can we talk about something? Because I bought your daughter a gun. Your daughter. I bought your. My God. I bought your son. Well, my wife bought it.
Yeah, Fortnite.
My
Yeah,
Fortnite,
that's awesome.
a gun, and I told my wife not to buy it. I said, guns are not approved in the Van household. I just wanted to make sure I didn't get you in any hot water.
We got a lot of guns
Okay.
now. Yeah. I like they have an whole arsenal of
great.
of Nerf guns
Good.
and stuff like we've got upwards of 17 guns.
Okay, good.
That they all put out on.
Yeah, do they hang them on their wall like Mike Busey? They just hang them on their wall.
I want
like,
them to.
Yeah, get a flamethrower on your wall.
Your Nerf Busey. Anyway, so the gun thing, it's just like anything where she started off with all these ideals as a parent, like we're gonna do this and like that, and then it's just lazy.
Vegetarian, no guns.
Yeah.
And these
Now
guys
Tommy's
are
eating.
gun-toting hot dog boys.
yeah. It all became late. Like she's like, oh,
Like,
whatever.
Can you answer me something seriously?
Too tired.
How could you, me, your sons, any man live in Florida and not have a gun and eat a hot dog? Answer me that question. I don't think
That's
it's
what I
possible.
say. Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, they have.
It's not possible. That's what you do.
Although
we
she-
didn't. Oh, sorry.
Oh, she wouldn't let it like no BB guns or anything like
Oh,
not like we
oops.
had when we were kids.
Okay,
Anyway.
I'll put that one away. Crossman
Email?
pellet. Yes, please.
Did you have a BB gun, Sam, when you were a kid?
We had a BB/pellet gun.
Yeah,
Oh,
Crossman.
yeah.
The pump, brown
Yeah,
bottom.
It
you
was
get-
used to terrorize
and they're
my
like,
family.
pump it up 10 times. And
But
me,
yes, we did.
me and my dad would pump it up 15 times. And then, boy, oh, man, it would the red mist. The red mist.
What do we got here? Email.
Brought up a traumatizing event. BDM show Tom's son Tommy holding his breath. Hey guys, I just wanted to give you my take on holding your breath as long as you can. So I can hold my breath underwater for over a minute while I'm in the pool, but actually have stopped doing it. The reason being is that my nephew in elementary school was, quote, playing a game of hold your breath for as long as you can with his buddies. Well, he won. He ended up passing out and falling face first into the concrete and chipping a couple of teeth. Totally thought your body wouldn't let you actually pass out by just standing up and holding your breath. He's all good, but scared the heck out of us. Have a great one.
I feel like that is the rarity, right?
So they were holding their breath just like standing outside, not
That's
in a
different.
pool,
Yeah,
right?
I think it's different in the pool for some reason. I almost feel like there's going to be something different at play.
like I've never heard. Like, okay, this is.
I remember the pass out game. We played it at
Oh,
Camp
yeah.
Wakaiba.
Everybody did that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody would fall on their head. You know, like I remember when that was going around rampant.
So I don't know if this is accurate, but this in my brain, this makes sense of how to find the truth. So I hear a story like this, and then I think to myself, could my sons, because they do hold your breath competitions all the time, and it's been our fear, and especially my wife, because she's more fearful than I
Makes
am,
sense.
that they will faint somehow underwater because they're trying to push themselves too long holding their breaths. And I always say, well, we never hear that about that, and I figured the news or someone on social media would be like, "Oh, this kid dies from trying to hold his breath too long underwater, and he passed out, he died." I've never heard that, and I've never heard any fear mongering of that. So that tells me it doesn't
Probably
even
not a thing.
never happens, because if it did happen, even a couple times, we would hear stories about it on the news, and then everybody would be, well, including my wife, terrified of them ever holding their breath to the point of like, never hold your breath underwater. Keep your head above, because she's irrationally fearful.
I think there might be something to us being in water that changes the way that our body takes. I don't know.
Now,
I think there's just something else there that we don't know about.
What is real is like shallow water blacking out, but that usually happens with like deep divers or whatever. And you go down, you hold your breath for a long time, and then you come up,
The pressure change,
and then you black out with like 3 feet from the surface.
Right.
But that's some competition or deep diving. They're
Right.
trying to set some record.
Again,
They're 100 feet or whatever.
Again, your timing and your change of pressure is going to make you pass out.
They're not just down there holding the metal step thing like we used to do when we were kids, like to get down and hold your breath for as long as you can.
Yeah.
Because
What was the longest you could hold your breath? I got to about a minute. My dad could go a minute plus. And he was like old lifeguard smoker. I always thought that was weird that he had really good breath control. He could do our pool when we had a vinyl liner pool. He could go back and forth, and it was just like a normal small Florida pool, but he could go back and forth without coming up like 3 different times. He'd go back, forth, back, forth,
It's the
back, and then he'd pop up, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, you're a superhero!"
yeah, the old death. I do that with my
Yeah,
sons.
I'm like,
I
"You
can
are Aquaman."
Yeah, I can go back and forth 3 times. They're like, no, you can't. And I do it.
Yeah, and it's
they're
so
super
impressive. I do it to Maisie.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
like, yeah, whatever. She don't care. Nothing impresses her. She's like, and then she'll counter me with something like, I'm going to be taller than you next year. I'm like, Jesus, go after yourself.
But even with all our dads doing that back in the day,
I was impressed.
No, you never hear about the dad. Like, dad dies trying to impress the
No.
son.
It's not a thing.
Even because, and I've done the move where you start convulsing
Oh,
because
yeah.
you're trying to hold as long as you can. I've never even come close to all of a sudden losing vision and
No.
fainting. So
I've been doing that all morning, and that's just walking around.
So it's not a thing, right? I mean,
I don't think it is.
right.
I agree with you.
I don't think it's a thing.
Let's try this one. This voicemail right here.
What is up, Tom, Dan, and Sam? This is Danny, your local BDM band director. Just listened to the BDM show and heard how Dan wants to fulfill his Lizzo dream here. I can get you a flute. That's easy. Would love to see you do your best Lizzo impression. Put that thing on TikTok for some content. So let me know. I'll get you a flute.
There we go. We got the flute.
We got it.
The flute has arrived. The trumpet has arrived. He gave us nice instruments.
I hope he stole that from some kids.
From his actual class.
And they're going to
No, I mean from a bus stop. I see these kids everywhere. He pulls out. He's like, "Hey, kids!" They're like, "It's a pedophile." He's like, "No, I'm not a pedophile. Give me your instruments."
because I did, and we're gonna play it tomorrow on Friday.
We'll
Free
see
Show.
if we can play.
But,
I don't know.
They're in a nice case, and I can recognize a quality trumpet, and
Yeah.
that's I think trumpets they were like $600 back in the '90s. So what are they now?
I mean, they were enough.
$4,000.
They're enough to make your dad complain about it, right?
Yeah. I remember the rental fee was like $30
yeah.
a month. That my mom rented. There was like a rent to own. And she rented the trumpet for like 2.5 years before it was paid off at $30 a month.
I remember we had a kid that had a tuba, and he would take it to and from school.
Oh man!
And I always felt really bad for him because it was ginormous, and his parents were renting it. And the rental fee was more expensive. I want to say his rental fee was like $80. I'm like, that's a lot.
It's a gigantic instrument.
It was huge.
That is a lot of the instruments.
I think we can retire the tuba, right?
Well, you learn how to play it, and then it's a waste, right?
tuba?
You never play the tuba again.
No, you normally transition to being a bass player in a metal band. Every tuba player that I know look, you could get mad at me for telling the truth, but that's fine. That's on you. But tuba players are usually like fat black guy or tall metalhead. That's it.
Why?
I didn't know any tuba players.
Yeah, both of my tuba players were either fat black guy. Then he transitioned into doing hip hop or writing his own music, right?
Yeah.
And then metalhead, he'll transition to just playing bass in a metal band because he can read bass music, right? It's just the way. It's what happens.
I'm surprised.
I still talk to the bass player that was the tuba player. I still name is John. He still lives in DeLand. I still know the guy. He still has
Really?
long hair. Yeah.
I'm surprised there
And he
hasn't.
still loves Iron Maiden. To this day, still loves Iron Maiden.
Are there any tuba players in any ska bands? Like, I know Hurricane Party's coming up. A lot of ska
Tuba,
bands.
the only way that tuba gets cool is if you have like, kind of like what Trombone Shorty's doing, or like the Roots sometimes will bring their tuba out.
It's a mini tuba, right? Like, they have a miniature one. Or
Like maybe
You know what? Tropodelic sometimes has tuba.
Really?
Yeah, they'll do like a marching band type song
almost
in
like a
between their
second
sets.
line,
Yeah.
like a traditional
exactly.
New Orleans second line style.
Because
And
the
that's where
trombone player knows how to play tuba too,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's also a bass instrument. It'd be like you're reading like bass music,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
I was asking Daniel if he could read flute like music.
I can, but I can't. I wouldn't know what I'm touching. You know, like I wouldn't know what note it correlates to on the flute. But I could. You know, every good boy does fine, and you know, face. Yeah, I know how to read where the music is, but I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would need
give me 2 weeks.
a picture.
I could put a Tom Van on that and say, if you gave me 2 weeks, I could probably slowly read flute music.
If you gave me the picture of where the finger placements go on the trumpet underneath a note, it'll come back to me a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, enough to get through some
What
sort of
if
simple
this
song.
becomes
Well, we're gonna
our
test
thing.
this out, right?
What if this
I played
becomes
trumpet
our
for
thing?
like 3 years.
I played flute for like 3 years. What if this becomes our thing? What if we become the flute and trumpet boys?
That's what I want.
I'm gonna keep it like a flute and trumpet boy, and we gotta get crazy hair. What's gonna be our hair? We need.
Well, I got to face that too.
You know what? I saw their hair now. The two island boys, their haircut is like the tall guy in the Gorillas. The mean the angry guy that's the cartoon character in the band, the fictional
yeah,
band. I know
yeah,
this
yeah.
sounds crazy, but okay, if you look at the Island Boys and you look at the taller, gremlin-y looking mean guy from the band the Gorillas, not the
They're
bigger
coming to
black
town,
guy.
by the way.
Yeah, I want to see him. Not the bigger black guy and not the skinny like girl kind of
Yeah,
like
the cartoon giant.
but the
gorilla.
cartoon giant angry man they have his haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same haircut. They look like villains. They look like double villains. And I'm all for it. But anyway, what's our haircut going to be when we do trumpet and flute?
Well, we have to go through some and figure out what sticks. You know, we'll do it on TikTok.
What's your
and-
name going to be?
Trumpet Tommy.
I'm Kodiak flute. I'm Flutiac. I'm Flutiac Black.
All right, Flutiac Black.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. What's on the cooler than Trumpet Tommy?
You got to use. I'm Flutiac Black.
Why you got a
Flute
cool
Attack.
one?
No, I'm Flute Attack Black.
Flute Attack.
Yeah, I'm Flute Attack Black. What's your name? I'm gonna get my twists. I'm gonna get crazy hair.
Tornado Tommy.
Why do you keep going throwing Tommy on the end? It's not creative
Because
at
of
all.
just alliteration.
Yeah. Everything's got to be named
Yeah.
Tommy in my world.
Well, that doesn't sound
Tommy's
good.
world. We're just living
I'll
in
name my
it.
dog Tommy. Anything Tommy.
You're like George Foreman, a podcast.
Oh my God.
You're gonna look.
Yeah. I got one good idea.
That's not gonna work. So it's Tornado Tommy and Flute Attack Black.
Yeah. I like it. All right. Let's get out of here. Bye.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom. This gentleman's going to be at the Improv Wednesday, May 15th.
25th.
Oh, God. I wrote down my
wrong
one.
number.
I can't see.
Oh, he already screwed it
We're
up.
It's
traveling
already
back
been May
in time.
15th. No, it's stupid. Why'd you say you were going to go to me? Because how you threw me off.
I didn't know I was going to mess you up, but yeah, it's next Wednesday, right? And
Yep.
it's one show only.
May 25th at 7:30 p.m. at Orlando Improv.
Yeah, theimprovorlando.com. On the line with us, you'll probably know him as Skippy from Family Ties, and if you don't know that, you'll know him as Mark Price. How you doing, man?
I've grown to cope with the Skippy moniker.
Yeah, I was
I,
wondering if you get so tired of that, and I have to, you know, like for us, it's like we have to decide whether or not we're going to say it, but I know people in the chat room are just going to see your face and go like, oh, Skippy.
I'm not one of those people that's scared of it. I milk it. I'm the only one that's still milking it after all these years. I'll be
Nothing
honest.
wrong with that.
I didn't shave today, so you'll have to forgive me. I read an article in GQ magazine that said that women are turned on by a man with a 2-day beard.
Okay.
So I let it go 6 days. I thought I'd triple my odds.
I like that. It's like Skippy with some grit.
So, Mark, are you in your
Skippy was
backyard?
nuts.
Are you in your backyard right now?
Extra chunky. Who said extra chunky? I heard that. Yes. I've been in the same place since I'm 17 years old.
So, where do you live, Mark?
In the Laurel Canyon, a lot of rock and roll history around here. This is where down the street a couple of doors is where a part of Desperado was written.
Oh, wow.
And the Byrds, the rock group The Byrds, and Jim Morrison lived down the street, and he wrote the song Love Street about our
That's
lovely
awesome.
neighborhood.
That's cool. And you really have you really been there as long as you were? I didn't know if that was a joke or not. Have you really been there?
No, since I'm 17. I know it's who knew I'd be that guy, but I just love it here. I love my neighbors. They're like my family, and I've just
That's cool.
can't find myself leaving.
Oh,
Although everyone else is leaving California, I'll tell you that.
I was
Yeah.
about to say your house must have 10 times the value. I mean, in concert, crazy how much it's gone up.
Appreciated for sure.
Yeah, the real estate market is crazy. I could have done a little bit more of it, but I'm not complaining.
No, who would? So do you have you been touring a lot since? I'm trying to remember the last time we had you in here.
It was pre-COVID.
And it
Yeah.
was pre-COVID, but
It was just pre-COVID. I want you to know it was the last week. COVID was, in fact, happening everywhere, but we didn't know it yet.
Yeah.
And then that announcement came out about the NBA and all that. We
Yep.
were all like, as a nation, like, what?
I'm glad to hear you say that too, because we use the NBA shutdown as a marker for us as well. In fact, I think it's the one that you and I use the most because we were sitting right here, and then you got a text, and you're like, "Dude, the NBA shut down," and I was like, "Well, that's not going to bode well for the rest of us."
It was when everybody knew it was serious. They were like, "Oh, whoa, they care about money,
Yeah.
and they still shut down."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like they don't shut down for nothing.
Exactly, like Vegas.
Yeah,
I'll tell you. Here's the thing. About a week or two before that all happened, or maybe 3 weeks, I'm not sure exactly. My girlfriend got a audio message, and it was the weirdest audio message. It was from somebody. It was a mistake, like to the wrong person, and it said, "Danielle, I have to reach you. My brother, he works for the State Department. Everything's going to shut down. Get supplies for like a month. Get toilet paper, get the hand sanitizer." And I was like, what? And we thought it was just something like a prank or something. We totally didn't, we didn't pay attention to it at all. And then sure enough, it was accurate. So somebody knew in the State Department.
My God.
Oh, yeah.
They knew.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, think about all the people that work for the NBA that all of a sudden they knew, they knew probably at least a day or so. You know what I'm saying? They don't make that big of a decision instantly.
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
not
like
a 30 seconds to make the decision.
yeah,
type
like
of deal.
all of a sudden it starts spreading out and people start calling each other. It's like the movies, it's like they know some inside information, and then you start telling everybody, man, you could have made a lot of money on the stock market and in different ways. Like you're just thinking like now in retrospect, you look at it, you're like, man, you could have made a lot of money betting against cruise lines at that time, and then a bunch of money investing in when they were at the lowest. Remember when gas was negative money a barrel?
Yeah.
Imagine I'm gonna put in $50,000 in my 401k into oil. And
So
what would be?
you're all into going back and investing. You're the Back to the Future guy that goes back.
It
and
just
gambles.
seems so obvious, Mark. We could all been rich, and we didn't have to be doing any of this.
So what did you do? So we saw you, and then everything started to close down. So
All right, so I went to Disney World in Orlando.
Okay.
Right where you guys are there, and they must have known too, because you know how if you're a pseudo-celebrity like myself, they maybe sometimes assign you someone to get you through the lines and take you around the park and stuff.
Yeah.
Like VIP stuff.
Well, sometimes that's also for their benefit, because sometimes you guys will come there without telling them, and then next thing you know,
Cause
they
a
have
ruckus,
a
yeah.
full blown people storming the castle because Tom Cruise is at Cinderella or something.
No such problem with me. I
Gotcha.
enjoy it. But
Gotcha.
still, nonetheless, it's the kind of thing. I used to be on the Disney Channel for many years and
Sure.
stuff, and so it's kind of an open invitation.
Nice.
And but boy, they were freaking out there. They knew. I didn't know what they were freaking out about, but something was going on big in the offices. There were
Yeah.
meetings happening, so they had to figure out their move as well.
And when you got back to California, you're off the road. Did you just kind of tuck in with family and hang out, or
I didn't go back to California. California was so crazy, and so was Florida, so was Orlando, right?
Right.
But I was in Ormond by the Sea, beautiful Ormond by the Sea. And a radio station in Daytona asked me to do a morning show, like a 80s daily lunchtime kind of show.
Cool.
And so for about 3.5 months at the beginning of the whole thing, I tucked in and did that, and I loved it.
Oh, what
and I have great
station?
respect for what you guys do now. I didn't understand how hard it is. I thought being on the other side for
I
all
wouldn't
these
say
years.
it's that hard. What station was it in Daytona?
The WROD, the Rock of Daytona. So it was all 80s hard rock music, no Madonna allowed.
Okay.
Did you do
Classic
it?
Station's been there a long time.
That's awesome.
Did you just do it from your house or like remotely?
No, I went into the studio, and of course we were cleaning off the doorknobs and washing off the packages and all that stuff, but it was a blast.
That's crazy, man. Like, and did you have any experience doing that at the time, or did they just ask you to do it?
They asked me to do it. I've been doing this kind of thing on the other side for so many moons. It only made sense to pop in. I had hosted some stuff before. I was host of Teen Win, Lose or Draw on the Disney Channel.
I remember that.
And then we did a week of shows. This is kind of an interesting trivia question. Who was the last, I tipped it now, who was the last late night talk show host on CBS after the guy from the Wheel of Fortune, after Pat Sajak?
Okay, Pat Sajak. Then there was...
And before David Letterman.
Craig Kilborn. Is that right? No, is that right?
I don't even...
Again, please.
I don't... Chevy Chase.
I tipped it. Come on, guys. You're looking at me.
You? Was it you?
I did a week. One whole week on CBS. Letterman hadn't even moved over to CBS yet. He was still on NBC. I was up against Letterman.
What?
Really?
For 1 week.
So
that's really cool, though. I mean, that's a great trivia question to have, and an honor to be up against Letterman, and an honor to have a late night show on CBS, right?
It was called the Midnight Hour, and basically after Sajak tanked, I don't know how all that works, but they had the affiliates, signed up already, and they made a summer show with a different host each week for 11 weeks, and Bill Maher host week number 10. And that was the beginning of his empire because he brought in authors and politicians and he got rid of the desk and the band. And it was the beginning of Politically Incorrect, which became Real Time. And it was sensational. I must say it was clearly going to be a big winner.
Huh.
My week, maybe not as clearly a big winner, but a blast.
But you still got to do it.
What guest did you have?
So let's see. My brain, I'm really getting old now.
You're fine.
Who's it'll be like a guessing game. Lisa Gibbons from Entertainment Tonight.
Okay,
yes, I remember Lisa Gibbons.
She was fantastic. She was so beautiful. And we had some of the actors on the shows at the time. It was the last week of a dying show. I couldn't get the big celebs. Sylvester Stallone was not interested.
Right.
Yeah, but
I think that's cool, though.
did you think, Mark, like during that time, like, hey, I got to do something grandiose to get attention, so maybe I can get some other shot somewhere? Or did you think, hey, I got to keep this, like, just keep it cool, keep it within the lines because that's what the network would want. Like, they don't want you doing anything that could be scary to them or whatever. Like, do you like cater more towards the audience? Like, hey, I'm going to do something that gets me attention, or do you
company man
it because you know that they'll give you other opportunities in the future?
I don't know if it's one or the other on that. You can be a company man and also, follow your heart. For me, my favorite part was when the execs, and if you ever saw the movies, there's a couple of TV movies and a big book about the days when Letterman and Leno were fighting.
Yeah.
Okay, so those very executives, which, by the way, the actors that played them look just like the guys that actually were there.
Oh, yeah. It's what's it called, like late shift or late night?
They brought me into the office one day, and they asked me, I'm not kidding, they go, what do you think of David Letterman? And I was like, are you kidding? He's the king.
Yeah.
And they wanted to see what I was 19 or something at the time. They wanted to see what a young person thought. So I like to think I got him the gig.
That's funny.
It's interesting that like they were asking your opinion. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. Like, I just think that these people have it together way more than they usually
our
do.
Own assumptions,
I know.
Right? Yeah.
I'm like, I always think. Like,
Why would they ask me? They wanted to see what a young person thought.
No, I know, but I figured that they already, like, they don't care. Like, they're narcissistic enough to believe that whatever they
we
already think,
know what's going to work.
Yeah, exactly. Like, at least that's been my experience with, like, higher up media executives. Like, whatever they think and their opinion is, they just think that that's the truth. It's a weird thing where it's like, wait a minute, like, this is for a different demographic. Why do you, like, your opinion should be meaningless in this situation anyway. So
are you going to do any more radio? Would you like to do more radio, or did you continue it into a podcast or anything?
Is that an invitation? I'm heading over. You got the...
Sure, yeah. I mean, look, we can talk to Jack. Like, we got David Jolly, we got D-Rod, we got Remy, and then we put Skippy and Remy, or Skippy and Jolly?
Well, as you know, Mark,
Seth in there too.
Radio doesn't have the money they used to.
Yeah.
It's really
Nothing has the money that it used to. The corporations took over everything.
Yeah.
They squeeze tight. They squeeze tight.
Yeah, real tight.
But it's also the market has been diluted. Like every single person, every celebrity has some sort of podcast or show. Every athlete. What I didn't see happening, Mark, did you see this happening where now athletes that don't need the money are just they have nothing to do with money. They're doing a super popular podcast because of the brand recognition, how easy it is, or whatever. It never even occurred to me that
Control your own story.
yeah, that the celebrities would just do their podcast just to like
It's their own
Dan's like,
press
yeah,
machine. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're your own PR machine.
So you got to compete with that. It's impossible nowadays.
I got to get one going so that we can talk about things and I could say something I'm not supposed to say and get canceled.
Yeah, I mean, you could
Wait a
totally
minute.
do that.
That happened to Fred Savage from the Wonder Years.
Yeah, it did.
What did he say?
Well, no, apparently
Cute
it was-
little Fred Savage. The word isn't out. I read the same article everybody else did. We don't know.
Yeah.
There was some sexual
Something though. But his
harassment.
name is Savage, so that was the first clue, right?
Yeah.
He's not Fred Tepid.
Some people with that would remain anonymous, I guess, within articles have said that maybe the vibe that they got towards women wasn't necessarily so great.
See, this
on-
is the problem. All
on
the
set.
guys on television are ruining it for me. Like, well, especially Bill Cosby. That's the worst, right?
Yeah, oh,
Because
yeah.
he was America's dad, and then he turned into America's super predator.
Yeah, oh
and
yeah.
it makes me instantly a suspect.
You're right. Oh yeah, because of the character.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I played an innocent character on an 80s sitcom. People are like, what's his depravity?
Yeah. There's
know,
got to be something wrong
Yeah,
with Skippy.
We were
He's
just
a
saying that.
sexual deviant. He likes them
He
stomped.
inappropriately touches puppies.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, have you had that come out on like social media or something? One of these fake news stories or whatever. Like, has there been any of that?
No, but I noticed it just like if I go work at a nightclub, the women, thank you, Bill Cosby, none of them even touch their drinks.
Go give it. They're like, oh, Skippy. Watch out. Like, we know about those guys.
I knew it.
And
That's-
so I like to announce to everybody, I don't use roofies because the women I sleep with choose to forget.
No,
right.
yeah,
There it
they don't
is.
need it.
Exactly.
Well, Mark, thanks so much for giving us the time. Again, you'll be at the Orlando Improv, theimprovorlando.com for
25th,
tickets.
yeah.
May 25th on Wednesday.
One night only.
Yep. And are you doing when they do those one nights? Is it what time do you go on?
I'm doing a whole tour of
7:30.
Florida, by the way. I go to Punta Gorda and Sun City Center and Tamarack and New Smyrna all the same week.
Okay, awesome.
There you go. Well, we got a lot of people in Florida that listen to us, man. So hopefully they'll come out and say hi.
And for those of you that want to come attack the stage, like Will Smith or Dave Chappelle, football style, NFL style, I'm prepared. I've invited many wimps to sit up front, and they act as kind of a boundary
Shield,
for
wimp
me.
shield.
So
Oh, yeah,
right.
beat them up first.
Yeah.
that's my strategy.
I love it.
Well, Mark, it was good talking to you. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
And then there's the stool and the mic stand. It's like self-defense. What is the
Like a-
Israeli self-defense? Kav McGraw?
Oh, yeah.
Tom McGraw.
Quick draw McGraw.
Yeah, Tim McGraw.
Mark, we'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Love your
All right,
guts.
See you.
Yeah.
Oh, don't. Oh, he's disappointed. Oh, I couldn't do it anyway. I couldn't do it at the end. I couldn't do it. I was checking out. You see me? I started
Yeah.
checking out
No,
because
come
I'm
on.
like, I gave him a couple very goods, and then I started shaking. I started freaking out, man.
It's
I
fine.
can't do it, Tom.
You can do
I
it.
gave him.
You can do it.
I gave him two very goods. I had to keep cutting.
It's fine. It's
I
fine.
had to keep cutting the camera to him because he's going into his act, and
Yeah,
I can't
man.
do it. I'm gonna shut down my heart. I'm starting to get lightheaded, and then he got
know.
sad because you're like, "All right, Mark."
Oh, get me all
Why
right.
did you say it like that?
You
Wrap
gave the
it
all right
up.
mark, and he's
I'm
like,
trying to-
"Okay, guys." Then he got sad. I'm like, "Oh
Right.
God!" Then I'm like, "Get the camera off of me!" And I start having a heart attack. Why do you
Yeah.
have to do this to me, dude? I can't do
I
that. I
didn't-
can't fake it in
Did
front
I
of
say it?
Skippy. Oh, he started to go.
Did I
full-
say it in a D-head way? Accidental D-head.
Oh, he started to go full.
Oh, he's still on.
Oh God! Why'd you? Is he still
No,
on?
no.
I thought. Oh God!
No, I
Why? You're the worst bitch in the world. Oh God!
No,
I was trying to have fun.
no, I tried.
That's not fun.
No, that's what I say.
I get lightheaded again.
I assume they're saying it as if they know it's a corny joke, and then I'm like, all right.
No,
Get it out of your system.
that was his best stuff. He's like, what's the Israeli defense? Carl McGraw. And then he's like, then he says,
Quick Draw McGraw.
Then I say Tim McGraw, and I cut to him. I'm like, I started very good, very
I
good,
laughed
very
at Tim
good.
McGraw.
Quick Draw McGraw.
That's an old cartoon from the 1950s. Put him on like that. He's like, it's like he's doing wacky racers.
Oh, you know, I listened to a rock radio show
With Skippy?
with Skippy.
No, you wouldn't. Don't lie.
No, yeah, I did lie. I wouldn't listen to radio at all. Never even turn it on. I don't even know where to find it on my car.
If you're thinking of attacking the stage, I know. I got a bunch of whips. Oh, God, he's going to whip. Very good. I'm like, oh. I started having a heart attack. He's doing it.
I gave him 3 all rights.
All right.
What are we supposed to do during that? I mean, I just want to gently fade him down and be like, and that's Skippy live. Like, what are you supposed to do?
You laugh. You
I don't want to fake that. No, my daughter does that now. I do jokes to make
a laugh that goes to the horn. The emergency broadcast. I gave him the emergency broadcast.
You gave
Don't give him the
It sounds like an
emergency.
MRI when you get an MRI machine. He goes.
That's how I laugh. MRI laugh.
No, dude, it's like, seriously, what are we supposed to do? I just want to gently pot down and then go to like the color bar, like technical difficulties, because I start to shut down a little bit.
No. He's super nice.
I'm not saying he's not nice. That has never been in question. The guys have always been nice to us, but there reaches a point of like we reach maximum corn, and then I start to freak out. Okay,
that's what they want.
I don't know.
I
don't know if anybody wants the quick draw McGraw.
I love that right out the gate, Tom gave out the wrong date. That happened a week ago.
Right out the gate, he gives out the wrong date. Quick draw McGraw. Quick draw McGraw.
Improv Wednesday, May 25th, but my 2 looks like a 1 because I was writing it fast. So
How does your 2 look like a 1?
Well, when I first look at
all of my 1s are like 1s.
It's when I first wrote it.
Oh, it looks like 15.
Yeah,
it does.
Like,
it looks like May 15th.
I'll show the Twitch, and then so when I glanced at it and I said 15th, and then I was like, wait a minute, that already happened. Right when I started it, but once I get going, it's like Andrew knows, he's a pilot. Once you start taking off, you can't bail. You just gotta ram right into the Everglades.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think Andrew would agree with that part.
No, I'm just saying it. Like, there's no stopping. You just gotta go for it.
Do you want to?
You can't pull. You can't throttle down. There's not enough runway.
Do we want to do some voicemails and emails to finish out Skippy's segment, or like what are we doing? Are we done here?
No, let's do voicemail. Oh no, hold on. Is it?
Yeah,
let's do it.
I was gonna say, let's just get ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah.
Let's
Memorial Day coming.
Yeah, let's try and get in front of it. Okay, this is gonna hurt some feelings.
Hello, show. It's Canadian Josh. I may have made this comment before or mentioned it, but I just wanted to say that I love Kenny from the Two Moves podcast. One of my favorite guests that you guys have on. I just wanted to bring up, too, and not that it's neither here nor there, and it doesn't really matter, but some reason in my head, I had Kenny, I thought he was a short gay man. Not that I care, not that it matters, but turns out he's a tall straight man. I just learned that when he was on the last
I'm a short gay man.
And further to Kenny, his voicemail he left to EJ, he was mad. So, EJ, if you can make Kenny mad, just think what you do to everybody else. You know, like the people who paid not to hear your terrible bit. Love you guys. I'll hang up and listen. F you, EJ.
Oh,
Bye.
man.
Wow. Harsh at the end.
All these guys that come on the show, they're all fighting with each other as if
They're all fighting for your love, Tom.
like
And
as
you
it matters.
sit back,
What
all
does it
you
matter?
do is sit back with your arms crossed. Very good.
Yeah.
Well, what does it even
I see
matter?
what
It's
you're
like, what is
doing.
this gonna do
I
for you?
see what you're doing.
What is it? Do they have?
You're the grand conductor, and you sit
Delusions?
back and you're watching all of your little pets. You got EJ
No, I don't
fighting
even
with
ca-
Kenny. You got Kenny fighting with EJ. Now you got Canadian Josh. He doesn't even have a dog in the fight. Canadian Josh is sticking his big nose in
No,
everything.
he's got a segment. He's got a dog in the fight.
Yeah, but it's not connected to anybody else's. When's the last time? Like, I didn't think Canadian Josh's segment was in question. I thought that segment was fine.
Some people don't like his segment either.
I haven't heard that.
Oh, yeah.
And what happened? Don't even
The
get me
battle
started
of the boy band segments.
Where's Chris Strema? Where's she been?
Oh, yeah.
What happened to
Streamer hasn't
her?
hit me
What
up
happened
in
to
a minute.
Business Baby? He can always jump in our chat room, but he can't call in? What happened to Remy? Where's he at?
Oh, he's coming in a couple
Where's
months.
Remy?
Oh.
Where's David Jolly? Where's D-Rug? Where are those
We're
guys?
doing a live podcast with Jolly.
Yeah, Jolly be at the
Okay.
hurricane party.
Where's
with
Seth
us.
Petrozelli? He got
He's
COVID?
coming in
What, did he
this week.
die?
No, well, actually, he.
Uh-oh, did he bail?
No, well, he's like, I got to move some stuff around.
What, he got
What does
COVID?
that
You can't
mean?
get it COVID back to back. That doesn't work like that.
It, I don't know, like, he always does this when I say, like, hey, you coming in this Friday? Then he texts me back, like, I'm bothering him and he's moving stuff around for me.
He's
you know,
not moving
it's not,
anything.
I know.
He's got nothing to move.
He's got, he does nothing.
Yeah, I'll text him.
But he's
Text his girlfriend. She'll give it to you straight.
See,
because she's not a liar.
I think this MFer is scamming me.
He wants you to beg him to come in.
Well, because I think his dojo is doing so well because he's been advertising it on our show.
Yeah, I've been seeing BDMs with their kids up
Yes,
there
I
every
know.
week.
And
And he
he's-
takes it super seriously, and it's actually a really good dojo.
And he keeps telling me it does nothing for him. The advertising he gets on the show does nothing for him. And I think
We've never had a client ever say that. By the
I
way,
know.
I'll be serious for once. I love your jokes, and
I know,
it's all-
that's- but I'm falling for
I
this.
have never had a person, not
Oh,
even
he's
the
manipulating
not
you.
even the ones that
He's
didn't work.
gaslighting
I
you.
thought it was Seth's personality
No.
that was ruining his business.
If it doesn't
It
work,
was a
doesn't-
fair guess.
I think you're onto something.
Yeah, so I think he actually maybe is busy now because we've made his dojo so popular, and well, if that's the case, I'm not paying him anymore.
I
Because
don't know why you paid him in the first
I don't
place.
think he will come in if we don't pay him, and
He probably won't.
I know we need that right wing contingent to keep the
Yeah, you're
the
gonna
Trumpies involved.
You gotta-
I gotta
you
get
gotta
some money.
balance it out.
Can't
Equal
all be
time.
one. Yeah.
Equal time.
Gotta get him in there. He's like, oh, says his thing, and
Yeah.
then I'm like, I get that money.
okay, all right.
So that's what I think.
Yeah, I know how you think. Let's try this one.
Hey, what's up, guys? BDM Gator Man here. Just wanted to let you know, listen to this Friday's free show, and Tom was talking about gator bites, and how unlikely they are, and just want to let you know that BDM has actually been bitten by an alligator. Pretty cool. But yeah, if you want to know more, hit me up 352-4.
He gives out his number, but he's been bitten by a gator.
That's not that rare to me. I guess based on my life.
Well, you
my
just said
uncle-
it. You just said it was pretty rare.
What?
He's saying that you said it was pretty rare, and now you're saying it's not that rare?
Well, in both scenarios that I know people that have gotten bitten by alligators, they have been effing with them. One was my uncle Billy, who jumped off an airboat to wrestle like an 8-foot alligator, and then when he landed on it, it slid in between his legs.
Bit my
And,
ding dong.
You definitely come from swamp people.
and
Bit me right there. Oh, Billy got his ding dong bit. He jumped off an airboat onto a gator like
Uncle Baby Billy.
like he would a rubber duck pool float, and that gator always got him
Come
good.
on now, Billy.
it was my dad's brother, and then it bit his thigh.
Got him right there on the tallywhacker.
And then he got gangrene. He almost lost his life because of. And then the Grizz got bit by an alligator in Peace River when he grabbed one. It was like 2.5 feet or something like that. It was a baby, and then it like whipped around. He didn't realize that he grabbed it by the tail, that it could contort its body around
they're
and bite,
limber.
and it bit the hand that he grabbed his
What
tail.
has he never said a don't? He's never seen a "Don't tread on me" snake flag.
So
before?
I said it's rare to
Reptiles.
get bit by an alligator just if you're minding your own business. But if you're messing with it, you'll get bit by it.
Yeah, if
Like,
you're
I
like-
caught one in the damn counterparts video.
Yeah, if you're poking it with a stick, it might come at you. But if it's just kind of sitting there, I don't think anything's going to happen.
That old man that threw the golf towel over the gator and then went to try
It's
to
like
grab
a-
it
I
and
think
it's
it's like
like
a-
bite him crazy.
It's like a members only jacket, right? And then it like bit him.
We should play that video.
I love that video. That old man, he gets bit. Oh God, he gets bit so bad. Oh.
Yeah. I like that he was so confident in his abilities.
Throw my jacket on top of his head.
Who was with him?
Whoa! There it goes.
Someone should have told that old man, like,
Yeah,
hey,
get back, old man.
I guess maybe if that was my pop-up, I would have never said
Exactly.
anything. You're right. Yeah, you're right. It would just,
Yeah,
I'd be
you
like,
would have.
No, I never told my pop-up
Or
he
you
couldn't
just
do
stand there
anything.
and let him get his arm snatched.
Hey, man, like he is confident he can do this.
Yeah,
and
but-
You're
he'll-
going to turn into Pop Pop. You're
that's
halfway there.
That's what I want. That's what I want.
But like, Well, okay, so what do you do? So Pop throws a members-only jacket on top of the alligator's head, and then that thing whips around and grabs his ankle and starts feasting on it. And what do you do?
No, well, then I get in there and I help him,
but he doesn't want you to help.
No.
And then when he gets out of it, he's like, I had it.
yeah, he'll get mad at me.
But then he has to go to the hospital, and then he gets a gangrene, and then he dies.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. I would feel horrible because in my mind, I'd been like, I should have stopped him. He had no business trying to catch his gator, but I'd never tell him. Because they would first he'd be like, "Get out of here! What are you crazy? Of course I could do this." I'm like, he'd be mad that I tried to stop him. Oh no, yeah. Well, that's how I'll die.
Yeah,
I know my fate.
Yeah. Let's do this one. Actually, let's go voice or email rather.
Okay.
Let's go email.
Hey Dan, let me start by saying I'm a huge fan and I've been following you for almost 20 years. I've been to BDM.
Don't say that.
20?
I know. Don't say it.
I've been a BDM pretty much since the beginning, and I value your opinion a lot. My father passed away in December, and he was an amazing drummer. He has a storage unit with at least 4 complete sets in it, maybe as many as 6 sets. Also a full electronic kit. He died without much, so the sets are pretty much my brother and I's inheritance. I want to sell them, but I don't know anything about instruments or the value of them. Can you point me in the right direction of who to contact, or maybe you know someone in the market? I'll include a picture I have of the storage unit to give you an idea of what he has. Feel free to give my name and number to whoever you think might be interested. Thanks. P.S.
Don't
I
be
understand
mean.
if you can't help no
Why
worries.
you got a mean face on, man?
He wants you to sell
it's
his dead dad's drums.
It's just odd in the day and age of the internet that you
This guy values my opinion.
to
He's
figure
been
out
listening to him for 20 years.
what anything costs would be to email a local podcaster.
Maybe he thinks I want to
His
buy one
opinion.
of them,
Pod
right?
daddy.
Maybe he thinks I want to buy one of them, and he's going to like what he thinks is an active source of, currency, right? Maybe he thinks I'm in the market.
Yeah, I just, it's weird to me that you wouldn't just research it on the internet.
Well, first of all, drummers have always said never play a dead man's drums.
Oh, is that the...
Yeah, just like pirates.
Okay.
No, that's never been said. I looked at the drum kits, and they look really nice. There are local guys around town. Like, what you need to do is find somebody that actually is a guy that works on drum kits, that works on drum pedals, that knows his way around that kind of stuff. And there are guys in town that actually repair drums. Find one of those guys and get that person's help, because sometimes you will find something that's like really rare, or they don't make it anymore. And there are plenty of people that collect really awesome vintage drum equipment. That is a thing, and you can make a lot of money with that. So don't be piecing the stuff out without getting it accurately looked at by someone in the know. And I'm talking stands, I'm talking pedals. Don't piece out that stuff, because you never know what you might have. A lot of these guys, if they're making a complete kit, if you got these old Gretsch drum kits and stuff like that, a lot of this hardware is really the stuff that's going to be hard to find. So don't throw any of it away. Keep all of it and let somebody look at it.
I just don't know how people don't know what things are worth nowadays and are genuinely confused, or like they just don't know how to find the information, because I assumed that everybody knew, like, all right, what is this drum set worth, right? I have no idea. It's like, but you know what the brand is, and you know what, like, how many pieces are, like, so it's like a 10-piece, what's a popular drum set?
Like DW.
DW, a 10-piece DW.
Singerlin.
So the way I would do it is you go on the internet and you type in 10-piece DW used for sale.
But some don't have names. Like, I've got a couple kits that my first drum kit my dad bought me. I gave it away, but let's say I kept it. It doesn't have any. You'd have to almost pull the linoleum or whatever was on the outside of it to check the shells to see where it was made, who manufactured it. Symbols are weird like that too. Like a lot of the stuff rubs off of it, and you have to look for actual stamping on there to see. But for the most part, you're right.
And then you see a couple of those for sale, or like, let's say you get 3 similar things for sale used on the internet, and then you just take the mean of those 3 prices, and you're like, all right, that's about what these things are worth, or that's what the market says they're worth.
Yeah.
Or what what they're for sale out there, which is the market. And then I don't know. I'm confused by the people that don't know how to do that. It seems so obvious.
Maybe they don't trust it because a lot of times, though, it's like a Zillow thing, right? Like, so you jump on there and you're looking at these drum shells. Let's say it's all vintage pearl drum shells. And he looks at it, he's like, oh my God, this bass drum I have is worth $5,000, but it's really not.
Right.
You know, it's just some guy inflating the price on the internet, and he's just putting that thing up there because maybe he has one, or maybe his doesn't completely match it, or the serial numbers are off. So maybe he feels like he needs to get a real human to look at it, which I would say, yes. You need to get an expert on
I feel like that's the direct result of Pawn Stars and people thinking that you need a drum expert to come in and be like, oh, what you have here? It's like when there's really no one has anything rare for the most part. It's all the same garbage.
Yeah, but everybody says that, then all the rare stuff falls through the cracks, right?
Yeah, and if his dad's an older gentleman that collected these drum sets for God knows how long.
I do get the feeling you want to talk us out of everything.
No, it's just odd.
Also, Tom, you act like you use the internet to find out information, and you do not.
I do. My sister was asking me how much to sell our brother's dirt bike for, and then I was like, well, just go on the internet, type in that exact dirt bike, find out what 5 of them are for sale for around this area. Because
do the median,
and then just get the mean price, and that's it. And then if you want to sell it quickly, go lower than that.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And then that's how everybody should do it.
I would say for this stuff, though, like there could be some, if there are any outliers, right? Then the only way you're going to find those is to go through everything and make sure you know what you have. And then if you don't think you have anything rare, then go on the internet and just go crazy. Then you can just piece it all out really quickly.
Because I imagine that the internet will also tell you if you have something rare or valuable, like by the serial number or like finding some sort of date, or it'll tell you.
It is a lot easier now.
Like I bet if you search in, how can I tell if my drum set is rare? There's some information that someone's put about how to if you got a a set that was made prior to 1981 and it's
a Ludwig,
then it'll all the information is on
it'll
the
be
internet.
Helpful, but still, I'd still, especially if you, I'd probably still get a good dude. I'd still get a dude to look at it. He might be able to save you some time.
I guess so, yeah. It's just one dude is less accurate than the internet.
You're not wrong, but I think if he has any, Dan Cummins has a guy that does a lot of branding for them. He's starting a drum shop. I believe his name is Logan Keith. Could be wrong on the name, but super talented guy. And the only reason I'm following that guy is through Dan. And they're starting like a drum shop in Idaho. I think it's called Rainier Drum Shop. And I'll give them a free plug because their stuff looks amazing, but they kind of specialize in exactly what this guy's talking about. But it really rare, super high-end, very hard to find, classic, and almost antique drums. There's a massive market for that. So that's why I say you might want to get an actual human. Let's try this one right here.
Hey guys, I was just thinking, what is the most amount of money in one lump sum that you could personally spend and get away with and your significant other not find out? I'm not talking about incrementally siphoning off a little bit at a time. One payment and you'd be able to get away with it.
I already figured it out.
So is there a number that
yes.
You're sitting here, you purchase something on the internet, you go in, you type in one wheel XR, boom, you pull the trigger, your wife sees it, comes through on if you're like my wife, it comes through on her Apple Watch, it says Daniel Dennis spent X because my wife has it set up so she can triangulate any purchase I make. What is the number?
Oh, so he's asking how much can you spend before your wife gets mad at you?
He's saying without asking permission or saying, hey, we got to have a family meeting.
Okay. I took it as he was asking, how much could you spend without your wife knowing about it? Could you spend $10,000 without your wife asking questions if you got it?
It'd be impossible the way that my wife has everything engineered.
No, not with your own money.
I can't touch anything.
I assumed he was asking if you had cash through some drug deal or whatever, and then how would you spend it without your family knowing?
Oh damn, Andrea's in the chat room
that is
confirming
a very different
that.
Question.
Andrea is in the Twitch chat room right now. She says I get alerts for everything he spends.
Yeah. Our personal bank account, any large purchase, we have a fraud alert text So anything that's above $30 gets text to Crystal.
Fraud alert.
Just because it's like some fraud thing that Visa offers, where it's like so she can keep track if someone does steal a credit card. If there's like a large purchase, she knows to shut it down. Right. That's what it's for.
Have you ever had your wife go, somebody stole our credit card, spent $12,000, and then you have to go in and like refund your purchase, and you were like, yeah, that's weird. Hopefully we get to the bottom of it.
No.
I could
Neither have I.
If I wanted anything, I could buy it. It's fine.
Waiting for that new one wheel though.
You're not gonna get a talking to. Like I would get if I went like right now onto a car website and said, "Boom, car."
That's too much. Yeah,
ordering like Andrea would be livid.
Yeah. Well,
she might divorce me.
Well, that's a giant purchase. I mean, you're talking about a $60,000 purchase.
Yeah.
Like the one wheel thing is that it's $2,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do want it, but it's me that's causing myself not to buy it because I'm like, should we spend $2,000 on this or should we spend it on something else? So we need, all this stuff like, like I talk myself out of it. But if I really wanted it and it would bring me some sort of joy, and it was like, like
Marie Kondo.
If my sons come to me and they're at the
want
age,
you to buy a one wheel for yourself because you're the best daddy.
And they're like, we want to go, buy some one wheel pints for us, and we want to go riding with you throughout the neighborhood. I'm buying them tomorrow.
Yeah, me too.
And it'll be $4,000, and I'll be like, screw it, and I'll justify it, maybe telling my wife, this is for spending time with my sons. They want to do it.
This is experiences.
Yeah. And so I'll buy that. But for myself, when them not involved, they don't care. And then it's just like, I can't do it. So I would say largest purchase is $300. Before she would be like, what are you buying?
Damn, we
Garbage.
we are business partners because I was going to say $300 as well. And even then, I'm going to get a harsher talking to than you are.
And that's going to be something ridiculous, right? It doesn't matter about like groceries or some sort of bread.
No, necessities don't count.
I'm saying silly. It's a silly.
For fun.
Yeah, $300 is a perfect number. What about you, Sam?
That's not an issue for me. We have separate bank accounts.
Yeah.
As long as our bills are paid, then we buy whatever we want on our own.
I have separate bank accounts, but she has me locked out of all of them.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in my house.
She got her thumb right on them.
Because we can't be trusted.
Now I do have a business card.
You shouldn't say that about your business partner. You can't be trusted. Do you have him locked out of our accounts?
Yes.
No,
he's not blowing our business money.
It's open.
He only
We're open, maybe.
He only left it open during BDM Appreciation Week, and I went too crazy, and he locked me out again.
No.
Because I bought the American flag hot tub. Is that guy still using it, or did he drown in there?
He hasn't posted it.
I know.
Yeah, I got turned green.
I thought he was holding his breath in there, and he passed out.
Oh no, we need to do a welfare check.
No, as soon as we gave it to him, I'm like, you're too lazy to take care of this.
Yeah,
I knew it. I knew it.
When I saw him.
It's green. He had to.
You know why I knew it? I was like, you've worn those shorts more than one day.
Also, you got to buy the right chemicals. A pinch a penny. You got to get the.
He didn't do that. He put sea salt in there.
Because it's inflatable, so you can't use harsh chemicals. Or they're more expensive.
It'll rot the plastic.
Yeah. So it turned green. He went out there. He's embarrassed.
He's like, I can never listen again, and he left the page.
It got half deflated, and now he
cut it with a Rambo knife, and he threw it in the trash.
Yeah. It's definitely.
But hold on to the pump. Hold on to the pump.
You can use that for something.
You put that on Facebook Marketplace. You get like $70 for it. Let's do one more. Let's do this guy right here.
Hey, what's up, guys? Ben with a Y here. Hey, I worked at a company that had a huge rat infestation. It wasn't a food place. It was a place that made like tile, it's like stucco and grout for tile. And I was always the first one there, so I'd open up the door, I'd sit in my office, and it's dead silence. All right, there's nothing going on, and you would hear these rats running in the ceiling. You'd hear hundreds of them. It was like a stampede of rats just running around in the ceiling, and it cost us thousands to exterminate. And the worst part is they put those traps out to where when the rat eats it, they have to go find a water source, and then they die or whatever. Well, the rats were dying up inside the roof.
Yeah.
So after a couple days, it smelled like decayed animal. It was the worst thing ever. And then on top of that, with all the rats that are coming in the building, there's also snakes coming in the building. So we had to run out probably 15 snakes that were like rat snakes. They weren't poisonous or anything. We had to kill a couple that were really, really big that were just in there hiding and eating the rats. And every now and then you would move a pallet and you would see this gigantic snake take off running. You're like, oh shit, there's a gigantic snake there. And we'd have to either get the snake out of the building or kill it, one or the other, because, you know, you can't have it in the building with the people. So, anyway, that's my rat story. Love you guys. Bye.
I love you too. My best part about, my favorite part rather, of rats that died in my ceilings and they'd start to stink, especially in Florida. Your roof heats up, black roof, dead rats. You got like 9 dead rats up there in your attic, and they just start baking. It's like an easy bake oven for rats.
Gross.
And then it stinks, and then they'll go up there, they'll pull the traps, but you got to nail them down because those things are tough. Once it snaps their neck, they'll whip their neck around for like a solid, 10 minutes. Even, I don't know if it's involuntary, I don't know if they know they're doing it, but they're a zombie rat whacking that thing good. So you got to nail the traps down. Well, then they start to stink. They'll go up there and they'll clear all the traps, but then they take a big old blob of some sort of mega deodorizer and they spray that up there, and it is so strong it'll burn your nose like onions. It's, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, man.
And then so they put this like hyper deodorant on top of a stank already, and it's like, whoa! It's like so pungent. It's like mega deodorant. Right on top of the smell of death.
I'm glad I never had a rat infestation.
Oh, you will.
It's coming. You got those 9 trash cans, buddy.
No. I had some.
Show me a person that lives in Castleberry and had a rat problem.
I had some radio listener when I first bought my house. Like they contacted me and they're like, "Hey, I'll come spray your house and the outside of your house with this chemical."
What do you mean? I'll spray it with diarrhea.
No, he's like, there's some chemical that's illegal, but he's like, you're not gonna live in there for a while, right? And I'm like, no, we're moving in like 2 or 3 months because we still have that Deltona.
I'll drop by, spray some uranium.
He's like, make sure no one goes in there for at least a week after I spray this. He's like, it's illegal to even use. It's like it's an environment.
DDT.
It's an environmental hazard. That if the government found out, I'll be put in prison. Like, you made it sound like that.
This is what made the Vietnam vets crazy.
And then he came and he sprayed it everywhere in my house. And then I remember he told me, he's like, remember, don't go in there.
Yeah.
He's like,
you don't know me, and this is not Agent Orange.
And he told me that we'd never have any sort of insect or rat problems again after that.
Oh my God.
That was like 11 years
this guy
ago.
was a gypsy.
And
it was just a bottle of water.
I did give him tickets to Miss Monster.
Oh, man.
All right. Bye-bye. Welcome back to A Corporate Time. Fringe is up and running.
It is fringing
baby.
time. We are fringing. You are fringing. But let me remind you of something that is extremely important. And Sam hit me over the head with this right before we got back on the air. Hey, if you are fringing, you need a button and you need a ticket. You got to get both.
Yeah.
Buy your buttons and buy your tickets, but you do need both. I'm going to save you a lot of embarrassment when you get up there and you have your ticket, but you don't have your button, or vice versa.
And with us today, Jamie Brickhouse is here. He's going to be performing tonight and all next week.
Yeah.
Again, you can find everything on the Fringe website and get the button so you can see everything.
Absolutely. We had Jamie in last year, but we have you back, and we're glad to see you.
Hey, I'm glad to be back. Lots happened in the last year.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
To all of us, I think.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, lots been going on.
Jamie, you are a short connoisseur. I can see by your short shorts.
Yeah.
And I, too, appreciate and love short shorts. Although...
But you're not running that. You don't.
No, I want to, though.
I know you do, but you're not running
And mine are pleather.
But I know those are not. That's
those
how
are
short I want it.
You
White
got good
pleather.
legs, man. You got
Here's
good
the thing.
legs.
Jamie has great legs, number one.
Yeah, look at the definition
And
in
he
those
knows how to
things.
sit properly with the short shorts.
Yeah,
you do the man spread.
And
I
your
almost
balls
cursed.
fall out.
Well, no,
Yeah,
they don't
yes.
fall out.
He just accentuated his muscles
Right.
and no
I can
balls.
do that.
Exactly.
No, you
Whoa, I
do
just
that.
saw something.
Exactly.
No,
Well, you know what? I had to take a lesson from my father because my father, Daddy Pooh or Daddy Earl, he wore short shorts and white short shorts a lot, not pleather. And he did go commando, so sometimes he had, there was that problem. There was that problem.
It was funny that Tom brought up the short thing without even knowing this. I think months ago when we had you and I had an email exchange about you coming on the show. I think you even said you were going to talk about your father's tiny shorts. This is like a thing, right?
Yes.
It's like in the actual Fringe production that Jamie is doing. I believe that, like, right? That's almost on brand. Tiny shorts. It's in the Fringe performance.
Bikinis.
Yeah,
My
but-
father loved. And what's the name of the show?
Oh yeah, sorry, I've got it right here. The name of the show. Jamie has to tell us exactly what to do. It's I Favor My Daddy: A Tale of Two Sissies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
It was the subtitle. I've done the show a couple of years now, and it was always just I Favor My Daddy, which I think is a great title.
Yeah.
And then when I did it in Fire Island last summer, I added A Tale of Two Sissies, and I think that was the button.
Now, last year you rolled through here with Dangerous When Wet.
Right,
and,
Boo, Sex, and My Mother,
and that all of your, and if you, I'm looking at your bio here, most always you get singled out as being critically acclaimed for being just an amazing storyteller and speaking with a lot of honesty about your story. Right, these are inspired by, or these are all
it's all true.
Yeah.
Dangerous When Wet, it was a memoir first that I published, and then I started performing stories from it and turned it into a show. And with I Favor My Daddy, I've done it in reverse. I've been writing the memoir, and it's not finished yet, but I went ahead and did the show, and which is great because then I'm going back to write the memoir. The show has made some great needed changes to the book. But yeah, the way both with both of them, darkly comic. I mean, it's just the only way I can tell my stories and process life is through humor, and I got that from both my parents. My father, Daddy Earl. I'm a junior. I'm James Earl Brickhouse Jr.
What a great name.
Yeah, my father said I hate that name. He said I'm not gonna. When my mother was pregnant with me, they were gonna, if I was a girl, which they really wanted a redheaded, brown-eyed girl. My mother liked to say, "Well, we came close." They were gonna name me Julie, and then if there was a boy, they were gonna name me Robert Andrew and call me Andy. But when after I was born, my father walked in because my father said, "No, I hate the name James Earl. It sounds like a black assassin." So anyway, my mother gave birth. This was 1968, and she was in Texas, so she did not do a natural childbirth. I think they put her under. She woke up. He came in. He said, "Have you seen our beautiful baby boy?" She said, "No, little James Earl." She said, "I thought we were going to call him Robert Andrew." "Well, no, he's a junior." And I think that was the only time when my father got the last say, because otherwise she always wore the pants in the family.
Gotcha.
Let's go back to when they used to put you to sleep to
Yes.
have babies.
Yeah.
I know.
Why? I mean, I think my wife would have preferred that.
I think Andrea would. My wife too would have.
It's weird the swing of because they used to use chainsaws at one point, then they put you to sleep, and now it's like all over the place.
Yeah.
A colonoscopy, have you ever had one?
I'm there. I mean, I'm at the time.
Well,
I'm 45.
They put you under for that. I do not want to ever go to a movement where there's a movement for a natural colonoscopy.
That's true.
I mean, I don't want that.
They do put you under for that. You're right.
Yeah, they do.
So we know it's possible. Why do they stop it? Is it some sort of it's 1% more dangerous?
It must be more dangerous.
Or is it
right?
still some sort of strange natural badge of honor?
Or like women were I want to be awake and present during this. I don't know.
Who wants that?
I want to experience.
My wife was she was the epidural. She was crazy. She was crying, throwing up.
Yeah.
I'm just well, you're awake, but you're going through a horrible thing.
But I don't believe any of the stuff they tell you. Like they tell you too. They're like, as soon as it's born, it's imperative that you take the baby and lay it on the mother's nude body so you can do skin on skin, and that's when the baby those 5 seconds.
Oh, I haven't even heard of
that baby
that
is
part.
nude on the mother's breast. That's when the baby bonds, and I'm like, I don't think they.
How
work
about
like
when
that.
the baby starts nursing from the mother's breast? I think that's when the bonding happens. And I mean, come on. She's
wife
getting food and nourishment, or the baby's getting food and nourishment.
Yeah, both of
directly
our
from the
wives
mother.
are
That's
too
your
weak
bonding.
to produce.
Yeah. They're not as good.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
being
Yeah, because I know a lot
moms.
of people can't do
No,
that.
they're failures.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, especially now, there's no formula. So what would you do?
I was a formula baby.
Yeah,
my mother.
our daughters. Well, my daughter would have died.
So, Jamie, I'm curious to when you realized that you had an interesting life. Because I feel like it's something that most people, just because you're just given the life you're given.
When you're in it, you don't see it.
Yeah, when you're in it, you don't see it. And then it's later on in retrospect, you're just talking to other people about their boring ass lives. You're like, oh my God. I have a super interesting life. Other people's lives are boring as hell, Jamie. I'm sure you know.
Well, I guess I realized it because for a lot of the time I was like, oh, I'm not enough. This isn't, I moved to New York right after, I grew up in Beaumont, Texas. Couldn't wait to get out of there. Went to New York right after college, so I've been in New York forever and worked in publishing for years, worked with a lot of interesting people and celebrity authors. And and like Monica Lewinsky and Joan Collins and Elizabeth Warren before she was a senator.
Really?
I mean, he's just
That's
now,
an interesting life.
I feel like now you're like the guy that can do the acrobatic flying in the plane, and now you're just doing little loop-de-loops to try and you're just adding on. Like, we already know your life is interesting, but now you're like this publishing aspect of working with celebrity, authors. I didn't know anything about that. I just know you basically last time you were here about like you and your mother and
being drunk
and
so well throughout all that I was drunk, and I wasn't drunk all the time, but I had a drinking problem, and it was when I got sober. And I thought, I want to, write about a memoir. My mother died, and she was a big force in my life. And I realized there was a lot of material. I did know that there was a lot of material with her. And then, so I did that and did Dangerous and Wet, the book, and it came out and did really well. And then the show. And then I started writing about my father, Earl, and I realized that I'm most like him in so many ways. And my personality. Both of my parents were funny. Both of them were out there, over the top people. You knew when they entered the room. They loved socializing. They loved parties, throwing parties, and so when I first wrote about him, it was a little bit harder to get into him than it was with Jean, because she was just anyone strangers would see. Oh my God, that woman's.
Were
a
you
piece
closer
of work.
to her, or
I was because I was close to both of them, but she took up all the emotional space in the room.
Okay,
so there was little room for him and me, or little room for us. And when she died, I made a concerted effort to get closer with my father, and to get to know him better. And I had this hunch for a long time that he was probably gay. He didn't marry her until he was 34. She had been married before her husband died. And which 34, he was born in 1931. That was late for his generation, and especially in that town.
Certainly, yeah.
And
in what state? In Texas?
In Texas,
okay,
yeah.
1931
in a
Texas.
small town. Yeah.
Maybe had to hide it.
And I knew I got my drinking talent from him. And he was a big drinker, but he never had the dire consequences that I did. He never lost a job. He never, drove a car. He never had sex with a dwarf.
Functioning alcoholic.
Right.
Well, there are a lot of those.
Yeah.
He never had sex with a dwarf or a priest that I know of, like I did.
Or a dwarf priest.
My father, though, when talking about Dangerous and Wet, I was terrified. He was very excited about it. And every time I started calling him every morning after my mother died. And half the time he was really excited that I was writing the book, and he couldn't wait for it to come out. And he'd always end the phone conversations, "How's that book coming?" I said, "Oh, it's coming along." "Well, hurry up and finish. I want it to come out before I die." And I was kind of hoping he would die before it came out, because then he wouldn't have to read it, since I talked about my alcoholic sexual peccadillos with a dwarf, a priest, and a crack addict.
Yeah.
And Mama Jean. But I got up the nerve, I put on my big girl panties, and I went down a year before the book came out to Beaumont to give it to him in person to read the manuscript. And he took it, he shuffled into his, because at the point he was shuffling, he was about 83, and shuffled into his study, sat down with his ever-present vodka on the rocks, because now that Mama Jean was dead, he didn't have to disguise it as Diet Coke.
All in.
And he read it, and he was in there. "Oh my God, I love it! Whoa, that's wonderful! Oh, let's read that again." It sounded like he was having sex in there. And at one point, he barked a laugh, and I couldn't resist. I said, "Hey, what's going on in there?" "Oh, nothing. You just went home with a priest." And then when
it's interesting. He read that in the other room while you're just sitting there, like thinking, "Where's he at now?"
Yeah. So anyway, he loved it, and he said he just absolutely loved it. He said, except he didn't take any issues with the sex stuff, except he said, "You don't need that chapter about the dwarf. That's just a sleazy story." And
it's like a cheap pop.
But he was a devout Catholic, and he went to mass every morning, and so he was most interested in the fling I had with the priest. And he said, "Well, if he knew he was gay, he never should have gone into the priesthood in the first place." And I said, "Well, straight or gay, you're supposed to take a vow of celibacy," and this guy claimed he did. until he took leave of the priesthood, and then he was making up for lost time. And I said, and my father was big in his local church, St. Anne, and he was lecturing the next morning. And I said, well, you know what? When you lecture tomorrow, why don't you read from my book? He said, I love it. Forgive me, Father John, for we have sinned. Now let's do it again and again and again.
Did you ever, even breach the topic of him possibly like sexuality?
No,
okay.
and so he died. That was Easter week, 2014. He died New Year's Eve, 2014, and I was so upset that he died before the book came out. And Michael, my husband, he said, "But Jamie, he read it, and he loved it.
True,
and you have that, and yes, he didn't get to see the publication, but he read it." And he died knowing everything about me. And then I was kind of pissed off. I was like, I shared all my secrets, but he shared none of his.
Right.
And some of it was my fault. Like, I remember being down there visiting him on several visits in the study where that was his room and in his favorite chair. And I was across from him underneath the oil portrait of himself that his brother had painted. And I wanted to ask him, is there anything you need to tell me? Anything? And I'd open my mouth and the words wouldn't come out. And I think a lot of us have that problem with our relationships where we just don't have the guts to say what we need to say or ask what we need to ask.
See, now you're hitting on all the things that I read about your shows. This is what all these wonderful publications say about your writing, is that you write from a place where it's truly authentic. And like everybody can identify with having that thing that they want to say to their family, but they can't work up the courage, or maybe they never will get the courage to talk about that freely, right? To communicate freely within their family. Maybe that's why everybody can relate to the vast majority of your shows, is that we all know what that feels like, to have that thing that, and then not to get to the bottom of it. Like my mom and dad, we talked about this last time you were here. They're both gone, and there are things that now I cannot confirm because they're gone, and you don't think about that until now. When even something as simple as wanting to tell a story here, we used to be able to just get on the phone, call mom, right?
Yeah.
And then get her on there and say like, hey, can't do that anymore. So do the tales get crazier, or like, I don't know how to vet them anymore.
I imagine how many people passed away without ever coming out. Like the amount of numbers.
Endless,
And I'm just like dawning on me right now. It's like why the stereotypical Republican senator is obviously gay but is hiding it, and then mad and like is actually trying to go against gay marriage, and so that stereotype from years ago. And then it's like, I bet that person's mad that other people are out and like living the
and they
can't do it, and that's
Yeah.
probably what makes them angry.
It's a tortured way.
Yeah, it's awful. And I also had a new I don't know, sorrow for my mother, because they would joke about their barren sex life, like it died. He did all the cooking. He'll hold up a wet noodle and say, "My God, it reminds me of me."
You're right.
And then Mama Jean would heave a comedic sigh and say, "Oh, it has been so long. I think my hymen's grown back."
That's a great line.
But it's also very sad,
It is.
And I remember.
Does she know, or do you handle that, or like?
Yes, I do. I
don't want to ruin anything. I want everybody to get their tickets and get your buttons.
No, I'm not giving it away. There's a lot more in here.
I'm sure.
And you've got my brother Ronnie, Ron the Roofer. He makes an appearance in this
Ron
show.
the Roofer.
Yeah, he was a Neil Diamond, major Neil Diamond fan. I mean, he still is.
What's that movie that happened where the wife passes away? It's I forgot the name.
Yes, I talk about it in the show. Beginners, starring Christopher Plummer. I mentioned it.
Great movie, by the way.
When I saw that movie, it was 2012. My mother, Mama Jean, had died 2009. I saw it with my husband Michael, and we're watching it. And midway through, Michael turns to me and he says, "Earl?" And I was like, totally. And I did. I kind of had this fantasy that, maybe he'll come out to me, and these, and come out. But he never did. But he did drop like little hints in the form of jokes, which is how I communicate too.
Yeah.
I remember, when I was down there that Easter week, and he liked bananas with his breakfast, and he was walking across the kitchen, and he said, "Fruits for the fruit." And I didn't.
Right.
And I was. And my parents still use that slur for gay people, and didn't really think of it as a slur. Like fruit, as in fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're old school.
Right.
They
right.
thought they were like, this is
and
nice.
and I was like, and I was just so kind of shocked that I didn't laugh. I was just like, whoa. What are you trying to tell me? But I didn't ask.
Right.
There was my.
He was telling you without telling you. Yeah.
And he was like me, where all of his friends were girls in high school, but none of them were girlfriends, and he was their cover. He was baby used to say she was going out with me when she was chasing some guy at the horse stable.
Yeah.
And I said, well, why did their parents let you? Why were they okay with her going out with you? He said, because I was harmless.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of
clues.
little signs.
Yeah, and he was talking about guarding the bathroom door while a girlfriend of his was having sex, in high school.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff.
So, Jamie, I'm curious, when you write a book, especially that's based on your life, and there's these stories, and then when it gets published, a lot of times, your friends and family read the book, and then they're like, wait a minute, this didn't happen.
It's happening right now in a very, very massive way. Taylor Hawkins passed away. The drummer for Foo Fighters. And Rolling Stone, I believe yesterday, published an article that was supposed to be a tribute to him. And then you see guys like Matt Cameron of Soundgarden and Chad Smith of the Red Hot Chili Peppers that are like, whoa. We gave quotes to this, and they did.
Yeah.
But the things they were talking about was that maybe Taylor Hawkins was overworked. Maybe the band was pushing him too hard, and maybe that's why he passed away. And it almost seems like they were misquoted, so they're like, whoa, what are you guys doing? Exactly like what you're saying about maybe people come out and say hey, you can't talk about that. You can't say that stuff.
Or because human memory is horrible.
Yes.
So you, especially if you're a storyteller, I feel like comedian storytellers, they often will tell the same story and then just like a comedian realize what's funny, what's not, what do people respond to.
Yeah, you
and
trim
then,
it, you pump it up maybe.
Inevitably, it gets skewed in just the slightest way, or so much so that another person is like, wait a minute, I was there. It didn't happen like this.
Or it hurts their feelings.
I didn't have that problem. And I also, I took some good advice. Mary Carr, who's like the Meryl Streep of memoir. She wrote The Liars Club.
Oh, wow.
And she's also a client of mine and a friend, but she wrote a book, The Art of Memoir. And but she also said, when you're writing it, do not show it to anybody until you have a manuscript that's in a good place. And then if you need to show them parts of it to say, I need you to read this to see if you're okay with it, that sort of thing. But first thing, once my father had read it and gave me his blessing,
right?
Then I didn't realize how much I needed that, and it was then that I was truly happy with the book. But he, besides the dwarf, of course he wasn't saying it didn't happen. He was just saying he wished it wasn't in there.
That's true. That is separate.
But I made reference to a mustache when he had a mustache and how much Mama Jean hated that, and he said, I never had a mustache. I hate mustaches. I said, you had a mustache. It was the early 70s. I'm telling you. And I couldn't find the photos to prove it. And there are several photos that I've since found. He had a mustache. I mean, that was, and then I had friends read certain sections of it in which they appear. And I'm trying to think. I don't think I had no problems. I was lucky in that sense, and of course my mother was dead.
But also you've done this before too, so maybe you know your
know
way
how to
around.
navigate
I think you know your way around the boatyard.
Right, but here's my advice: anyone who's writing a memoir, do not show it to anyone else until you have a manuscript in a good place, and then show them just maybe the parts that they're in, and say, is this cool with you, or do you want me to change your name?
Yeah. Is this stuff? Is it mentally a lot of people write Fringe shows, right?
Yeah.
And they write. There's a lot of. A Fringe show could be really anything.
Yeah.
Is it mentally taxing though to kind of go through because you're reliving things that may not be the most fun parts, and some of them are though. Some of them are. It's a very funny show. I mean, everybody says that the story you're telling is comedically top tier, but there's also some genuine stuff in there and some honest stuff in there that's kind of heavy. Is it mentally taxing for you to both write and perform that sort of stuff?
Yeah, it's not so much that I need to do lean against the wall and slide down like in a soap opera when it's done. But one, I went through that emotional ringer writing it, and going back and dredging that up and processing it that way. But it is, I'm not reliving of course I'm bringing back those emotions if I'm performing it well. But it is it's exhausting to perform anyway, even if it's someone else's material.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be a little bit draining, and sometimes it can be surprising. Oh wow, I've done this show 20 times now, and then there was a certain section that really got me.
Yeah, or maybe how the audience reacts,
right?
Because you can feel that too, right?
Yes, I had a great. This tonight is my first show of My Favorite My Daddy, A Tale of Two Sissies.
Yeah. And we're linking it in the chat room.
Oh, great.
If you need any show@tomandan.com, if you need any last minute tips on where to go, I can help you out with all of that.
Yes.
Great. But anyway, I had a great audience. I did a preview performance a press preview performance.
Nice. Okay.
And then, but all I had a good audience because volunteers and various Fringe staff and other artists can attend. And that was one of the best audiences I had. They were just with me the whole time, and there was one point to your question about the audience reacting in a way you had, and someone he gasped at one point when I revealed something about my father, and I just never had that audible reaction before. He was like, "Oh,
yeah." People respond to this.
Yeah, you got them. You pulled them in.
Yeah, when they're like that, I call them the Stepford audience.
Well, you got us last time you were here. Like you sat here and you started talking about your mom and Jane, and we're going through the thing, and you're telling us all this different stuff, and I'm like, man. And before we knew it, we'd been sitting for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and I'm like, yeah. So definitely go and see Jamie. Get your tickets now and your button, and I'm going to give these show times again. I'm not kicking you out of here. I promise.
Oh, good, because I want to tell you something else.
Let's say you got the 19th, the 21st, the 22nd, the 23rd, the 27th, the 28th, the 29th. You're going to have to check for the times, but mostly, let's see, we got mostly 10:30 p.m. are most of those times.
Yeah, there's one matinee on Sunday.
There you go.
When you mentioned Monica Lewinsky,
I knew you were going to go back to that.
Well,
back to the Lewinsky. Back to the Lewinsky.
Because it ran. I watched that documentary about Monica Lewinsky. Did you ever see that?
Yes, I did.
About how horrible of a go she had at it, and how everybody she was the butt. Of
I bought one of her handbags
of every joke,
no,
and
I didn't.
and this one mistake, a young person
at like
makes
22. You know what I mean?
Like a baby.
With the most powerful person in the world, and then the entire.
Which, by the way, he's the one that should have known better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The entire world attacks you, and every
you
Jay
become a
Leno
punchline.
is making the
It's
dress
terrible.
joke, and then it never goes away. It's
people still reference it now.
Yeah. It's still the butt of jokes this many years later, which is insane. I feel like that would never happen nowadays. It's just we have such a short news cycle and stuff, and it was so.
Well,
sensational.
nowadays it probably would have ended his presidency.
Yeah.
It would have been a far bigger deal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But when you work with her or whatever, did you feel any of that?
No, I have to tell
celebrity?
you, I'm a little embarrassed. I mean, I was perfectly professional with her. She was very high strung and histrionic, and it kind of felt like dealing with a young version of my mother, and I kind of was on the. I mean, I didn't have that much empathy for her until later when I was, as the recently and oh yeah, that's heinous. It's hideous.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't
lot.
judgmental that they had sex. I thought, I was also ashamed of America for being so caught up because the president had sex with somebody outside of his marriage. But and so I have a newfound respect and sympathy for her that I didn't have at the time.
Yeah.
But it was tough. There was just a lot. It was everything was dramatic, and there were so many people involved.
It's too much.
And interviews were canceled, and there was just a lot of triage. It was constant triage, being the publicist.
That's nuts.
I know you probably mentioned in your show. I don't want to bring up too much stuff from your actual show because I want people to go see it.
Yes, get your tickets.
But I'm curious to what was your experience coming out to your parents or your father? How did he take it? And we may have asked you this last time you were here, but I'm just curious. He grew up in Texas.
Yeah, I'm lucky in that they weren't happy with it, but they never they never turned their back on me, and they never kicked me out or stopped loving me. And my mother, she histrionic soap opera diva that she was, cried buckets. And then my half brother, from my older half brother, from her other marriage, had come out as gay earlier that, and she was like, "Oh, not another one!"
Yeah.
And then my father, I told him over the phone, and this was my freshman year in college, and I was also thinking about it. It was 1986, and the AIDS crisis was raging, and it was terrifying.
Yeah, so it was scary. Yeah.
And so,
just the way.
And so, but my
everybody's talking
father.
about.
So when I went home for the holidays, he took me out, just the two of us, to our first father gay son lunch, and he said, "Your mother and I love you no matter what you are, but I think I saw it in you before she did." I think that was a little telling now.
Yeah, my God, all these things that you collected, these little clues.
Yeah.
You're blowing my mind, man. Like, that's nuts.
And which was odd about that is that she was usually the truth teller and the one to hone in on somebody and what they are.
That's
and all
his
this. And not on this,
expertise.
she was blind.
Yeah.
And his advice was, he took about a sip of his third Chardonnay and he said, "Be careful, and just don't march in any of those parades."
Oh, wow.
Wow. It's weird because I'm experiencing how...
Which I did march in those parades.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
Like, I'm experiencing currently how easy it is to indoctrinate your children to something good. And I'll explain, like, when my kids are not at all, like, even... Like, they don't even... It's being gay, straight, or whatever, like being married to a man or woman, whatever.
Not a thing.
Their reality is you can get married to whoever you want, man, woman. You have two dads, whatever, because they see
May's
that.
got friends that have two moms, and
we've never
it's mentioned, but it's not a thing.
And then we always, you love who you love. You love man, women, boys, girls, whatever. And then it's like, all right. And then they have no problem. They're like, all right. That's now my reality, and I will grow up with the reality of it not ever being weird. Yeah. And it's like, well, that was easy.
It's way easier.
It's like, what's your favorite color? Orange.
Yeah.
Who do you want to fall in love with? A man.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
That's who you are.
And so then
you don't like beets.
Then it makes you sad when you look back at that. It was like, oh, well, it could have been that easy at all times, really, because
you made it complicated.
It's not like you have to explain to young kids like, hey, you would marry a boy or a girl. They were like, what? Oh my God! You're telling them their reality of the world, and then they accept it as a truth, and then they move on. They are not concerned with it or surprised by it whatsoever. It's as easy as that. And then it's like, well, that's what makes me feel good, is like indoctrinating them into being a good person, or just like not having any sort of stigma towards anything. You know, it's just like everything's a neutral to them.
Right.
And now the world may screw that out of
it'll
them.
try. It's gonna try.
Society.
For sure.
Yeah, because like even you watch old Simpsons.
Yeah, but you see so much representation now that you never did before.
No,
I
mean,
so
when I was growing
they'll get
up,
exposed to it.
Yeah, there was no one openly. It was Paul Lynde on the Hollywood Squares
Right.
and Bewitched. But I become a TikTok star in the last year.
Nice. Let's talk about
We're
that.
trying.
That's why I'm wearing these high heels.
I love it.
And I started. I was like, I want to do. This was during COVID, and I thought, I would love to. I should go on there and tell. I'm a storyteller and tell short stories, but I thought, well, it's visual, and you got to have a gimmick. And I was out in Fire Island, where I spend most of the summer, and there's a lot of drag out there, and I've never been a drag queen. I've done drag, and I had a few high heels, and I was like, maybe I'll tell a story, a true story in high heels. And I did it, and the first one got 2,000 something views, which is good for your first time, which is really cool.
Absolutely.
And it was actually, ironically, it was not a Mama Jean story. It was a Daddy Earl story, the one about him accepting me.
Could you try some of the things that are in the... Can you test out stuff on TikTok?
Yeah.
Almost like use it as a launching pad.
And so it took off.
Yeah.
And so, and I was doing it in the summer, so I was always in shorts or a bathing suit with the high heels, and then people went nuts over my legs. So
you
now,
got good legs.
So now I almost never
you're
wear
blessed.
pants. I mean, even when the dead of winter.
We got to do this.
And
we got to bring our shorts up higher.
Our legs are horrible.
There's a
Jamie's got awesome legs. I was
mine
impressed. I'm like, oh my God.
Speak for yourself. Mine are not bad. If I get like I'm gonna get some
boat out like a little person.
They are a little bit, and I've got real bad varicose in the back of my thighs.
I had that problem years ago, and I had them stripped. But but to your point about kids being more accepting because if they know that it's the norm. But what I'm amazed, it's really taken off on TikTok. I have like 45,000 followers and over 3 million views. And there was one video of Mama Jean, a story about her hair collapsing when she comes over to New York, and that went viral at 1.3 million viewers. And the reaction, people are like, "Oh my God, I love I love the outfit. I love those heels. Oh my God, your story." But I tell a lot of funny anecdotes.
Sure.
Something that like up to 3 minutes is what I'm doing. And then, but I tell some meaty stuff, and like I went through and told like all this. I basically told all of Dangerous When Wet, and it's brought a new life for the book, and I'm now selling. It's out of print, so I'm selling the hard copy for $50 a pop for a signed.
Wow,
copy.
that's awesome.
And they love it. But anyway, I've had a lot of people say that, which I never expected this, that they love how vulnerable I am, and that it's really helped them with their sexuality or their drinking. Like some people said, I've gotten sober now since I've seen your videos, and then I got this amazing email from a follower who wanted the signed copy, and the person had recently come out, and their family turned against them and is having a hard time. But my videos have, my daily videos, because I do it every day, have really helped them through this and have been a life force. And I mean, I was just overwhelmed, and I don't say that to brag, but I mean, I just didn't expect. I thought it'd be like people would be entertained, they'd like it,
But it's more. It's a bigger connection. Yeah. It's awesome that you can help people.
That's a huge like market in TikTok with the anti-drinking or like I see that all the time, and it's weird because I'm like I still drink. I don't know why. How do they know I'm an alcoholic?
They know.
It's all people telling me
because a lot of people, if you're stepping away from booze or not drinking, I am right now. I'm stepping away from drinking. I'm like 246 days today of no booze. But it's like when you are stepping away, it can get a little lonely, and you can feel like you're the only person battling this addiction that you have, and seeing other people and knowing that they also had to battle it is extremely helpful for whatever reason.
See, I take the opposite. When I see the stories and like when I hear Jamie's story about like the crazy stuff that happens to people when they get blacked out and stuff, like I always look at it like, well, I didn't do that, so I'm not that bad yet.
Okay.
So
I thought you were gonna say you doubled down and drink more.
No. It was like over the top. The worst I've done, I pee the bed, and it's like, and people are going out like, I drove to Maine and I was involved in this orgy. And I can't remember.
God.
Then I was in
They
jail.
woke up on a plane with a man they had never met before.
I was like, well, I haven't done that, so I'm still good for a little bit.
Yeah, I guess pee in the bed is pretty boring compared to flew to Maine.
Well, that back to my father's drinking and me, I was kind of in semi-denial about his drinking. My mother was always accusing of being an alcoholic, and he said, your mother said I was an alcoholic, but I'm not. I can quit when I need to. And I was surprised. I won't give it away, but there was, I found out in a surprising way in the end that convinces me that he was an alcoholic. Because I was like, oh, he's just a heavy drinker, but, he's never had any consequences, so what? But he actually had a major consequence along the way.
And I think a lot of people, because the last time you were here, and I think I even said this, I know what it's like to run. Like my family growing up, we were wide open. We talked about everything.
Yeah.
That is so in the minority. Like that is so uncommon. Like the way that my mom and dad raised me, where I could say anything I wanted to them, bring up anything, address anything, as long as I was respectful. That was the rule, right?
Right.
Can say anything to them. Any topic is like sexuality, politics, race, whatever I wanted to say, I could say it. There would be no problem as long as I was respectful. But then you could bring in Andrea aside, my wife. Completely different animal. So I think the most people can relate to your story of like you see the family, but then what's going on behind the scenes could be completely different.
Right.
Like a completely different animal, right?
Yeah. And why does everything comes with consequences. Why? Like, it's just there's no way around it. Like I try to, I'll be like, yeah, I'm not that bad. It's like, there's something there. It's getting me good inside, or whatever it is. I'm like, there was gonna be consequences.
I always think about that. I wanted an apple fritter this morning. And that's all I wanted is an apple fritter, and I knew it. And then I got one of those lightheaded spells, and I go, oh, that might be that's your arteries. No more fritters. You gotta stop with the fritters.
The only thing good that doesn't come with consequences is short shorts. Like it's only good.
Yeah. Well,
only good.
Yeah.
Except for
unless
the
you go
dog
command. And I do drop trowel in the show.
Really?
Now Tom's interested.
They totally
tickets, please.
A whole full frontal, or
I can't. You know, you
Cannot disclose that information. It's an 18 and up show.
Yeah. Imagine if I said that about Doctor Strange. I said, Doctor Strange's dong falls out of the movie. Spoiler alert. You can't say that.
Well, Jamie, how can people buy your book? And
well, I'd love for them to follow me on TikTok because I'm there every day.
Done.
And I tell
we can
a
do
true
that
story every day, and it's Jamie JAMIE _Brickhouse.
There you go.
On TikTok.
And every day you do a new
every day.
anecdote?
Yes.
I love it.
Every day. I'll usually film a batch of videos and then have them ready to go. And JamieBrickhouse.com. You can. It's my website, but you can find everything there. I'm on Instagram, same at my name, Facebook, and I'm also just started hosting a podcast called The Sober Podcast. It's part of the Soberverse, Sober Network.
Very cool.
I just started the last month, and so I have all kinds of guests who are sober, and it. They don't have to all be 12 steps. So it's however they're getting sober. So maybe I'll have one of you on if. That ever happens. Not that I'm saying it should.
Well, I mean, anytime in Florida when you say you're sober, you're California sober. It should be because everyone's like, I'm stop drinking, but I'm super high right now and high all the time. I was like, all right. Well, I don't think that's the definition of sober. Like, no, I'm not drinking though. But
that's why you say alcohol free. You say alcohol free. You don't say sober.
I've taken
or
so
drug
much
free. Too.
Yeah, you could say drug free.
But I do. For me, I'm both. I'm all free of that. But I do respect it if that whatever works for you and whatever keeps you alive and keeps you living well. Whether you're a drug free who drinks or an alcohol free who does light drugs. I think if you're doing crystal meth, I don't think that would really count.
No, but that's a lot. But
I don't drink.
Yeah, around here, Florida, we're all about the crystal meth.
Marijuana's for my back pain. I went to a doctor to get this prescription. Be like, you went to a retired OBGYN.
Mine was a gynecologist.
That guy denied us.
Yeah,
I went there.
Yeah, that guy.
Well, Jamie, thanks so much for coming, man.
Thanks for having me on. You're always a lot of fun.
Yeah, next time you're here, just go ahead and schedule it. We'll get you on the books. We'll take a quick break and come back with more of corporate time right after this.
Happy Memorial Day.
I don't think you're supposed to say that.
God damn it. I'm going to get that.
You're not supposed to say that either. That's great.
Shit.
And then I laughed like an elf. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Should we start over? It's fine. No one's listening.
It's fine.
All right.
Everyone's barbecuing.
Yeah. How's your barbecue?
7 o'clock, everybody's wasted by now.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Or you're driving drunk.
Our guest today, you know him as Orlando's original 90s party boy, Cadillac Pat. What's up, Pat?
What's going on, guys? How we doing?
Good to see you, man.
You too.
Very, very good to see you. What's new in Cadillac Pat world?
Well, I brought a prop. I brought one of my new toys. I brought something to show you guys.
Okay,
I want to see if you remember it because I found it online. Me and my buddy were talking.
This is what happened. We have been making the joke. He's got a gun for the last 6 years. And who would have guessed that the one guy that would turn his back on us would be you? It wouldn't be any of the multiple enemies we have. It wouldn't be any of the people that we fired or the people that have fired themselves. It would be our good friend Cadillac Pat would be the one to kill us.
Well, it wasn't my first guess, but he's on the list.
Yeah, bottom of the list.
Yeah. But
and
I
it's
just
like
put
as
him
an old, like I was gonna say a plot twist, and I was gonna switch those letters and call it a twat pissed.
That's good. I like that, dude.
So, what'd you bring here?
Well, if in the 90s, it's something you did as a kid. It's like before the internet, you had to make yourself laugh somehow. So me and my buddies.
Etch a sketch.
No, it's right here. I don't know if you remember this. Everybody had one of these. If you had
fart
cable,
machine.
It's a cable remote. Did you guys have this cable remote as a kid?
Oh, that's to operate the box, right?
Yeah, the box.
Yeah.
Well,
Hold on a second. What you went?
It's a cable remote from like the 90s.
Well, no, because my stepdad, he knew he was a biker, so from his biker
I'm a
buddies-
biker, and that makes me horny by law. What does biker mean?
Well, I mean, he had access to a bunch of people that would do illegal
it would
things.
and it was called Scientific Atlanta, right?
Yeah, Scientific Atlantic, I think.
Yeah, Atlantic.
Atlantica.
Oh, I always say it's
Something.
Scientific Atlanta, and you plug it in, and it descrambles Playboy channel, so you can see
It was
either
Spice Channel.
Well, we had Playboy, and we saw either Emmanuel or Electric Blue. There was a theme, so I was like, Electric Blue. I gotta look that up.
Well, the Spice Channel had hardcore.
Yeah.
And then then my buddy the Wizard would be in there, and he'd lock himself in my room, and then we're pounding on the door. We're like, we know what you're doing.
Okay, Electric Blue is a softcore pornography show that aired on the Playboy channel in the early 80s. Wow, I'm dating myself. The show was produced in the UK. And I got to find it.
It was soft. Like, it was all, like,
If it was
nudity.
HBO or Playboy channel, it wasn't like...
Yeah, I got to find the theme song to Electric Blue, though.
There's a lot of, like, silk curtains that float around, and you're like, and then I'm like, oh, she was nude for a couple seconds.
Hey, I got it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, this is it. Whoa, they can show that on YouTube?
I don't think we could put that on Twitter.
Wow. I don't think I put it on Twitch,
Oh, okay,
but
okay.
that's on YouTube.
Wow.
Oh, no, it's not that. What is? I mean, she just.
This is
it's not even
that's
really-
too
My name's
much.
Tracy. Yeah, that's
Tracy.
right, Tracy.
Tracy.
The original Essex girl, that's me. I've got this little flat in Chelmsford and an XR2i.
She's a
too.
plastic
And I don't-
pig apron.
It was a UK show. I've seen all of these. That song,
That's
by the
UK
way.
white trash. I know that accent.
By the way, that's reps. That's pervert reps. Because as soon as that song came on, I felt it.
Oh,
Seriously.
felt the move?
Well, because as
Nostalgia boner.
Yeah, it got a nostalgia
Yeah.
boner. Thank you, Sam. Write that down. That's the name of the show, Casey's Nostalgia Boner. I did. Like, I heard the song and I was
Yeah,
da, 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 because you used to hear the song and you knew you only had the song to see if you could hit the box to get it to hold one of the static waves
Yeah.
would be like, oh, if I
It
could
freeze in between waves, then you see it. You're
Yeah.
like, I see
I see boobs.
I see one nipple.
The wave stopped.
Yeah.
And no, but you can actually see it really
Yeah, but if you
good.
shake your head really fast, you can see it.
No,
that didn't work for me.
You know,
That's the trick.
That same thing happens to me. Like that old, like classic porn, I'll still watch that as a category because, and then it'll do more
I don't
for
do
me.
that. You're
Wow.
I don't do any
No,
of that.
because that's what I first saw, so it got ingrained into my brain, and that's now a little bit of what I like.
The what I really hate, though,
Interesting.
I should've
I'll tell
said
you
that.
what I don't
No.
like.
Don't look at me.
I'll tell you what I
Don't
don't
look
like.
'em in the eyes, Pat.
I go back and I look up old porn stars, and then they're still doing like versions now. Like Christy Canyon used to be. That was my gal. It was Christy Canyon.
How old is she now? 60s?
I don't know, 55,
No, she's got
Gotta be older.
maybe
Yeah,
60.
she's
I don't know.
60.
I don't know.
She's still working?
Well, she does a podcast.
What did you say?
I said 55.
55 on the nose.
Oh, wow.
He knows.
Yeah.
I know. I know
That's his
my,
lady.
I know
she
my
was,
first
I
crush.
forgot that back in the 70s they were 17 when they
They also
started.
they also looked a lot older back in the day.
They're like,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
she's 19 and they're big 90s
Mega hair, yeah.
Yeah.
But she was ample up top, you know. And so so I looked her up. She does a podcast with, I think, Ginger Lynn. And they do a show together. And they'll do it, and it has a video component. And I think they put it on their OnlyFans. And, it's like, you shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to be kind.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know.
It's like, you shouldn't be, you know, it's like, I don't want, like, when Michael Jordan is 75, he doesn't need to get back out there. You know, you don't need to enter the dunk contest. You know, you can sit on the sideline and be the legend that you were. Right?
Michael Jordan can still do somewhat of an impressive dunk,
No,
right?
can't dunk.
No,
Yeah, he
no,
can
he
definitely dunk.
No way.
He
I
does.
only say this to make Pat mad.
Yeah, I'm big
Look
time
how
mad
mad
now.
he got. I was only doing that to troll you, man. I know how much you love Jordan.
He can't
I would
dunk.
never say that to you.
He could never dunk from the free throw line
No.
anymore.
Oh,
But
wow.
half the.
Man, you could never say the word free throw.
So what have you been doing, Pat?
Oh, man.
What have you been up to?
I've been cruising. Went on a cruise about a month ago.
Oh, I thought you meant getting in your car and driving
Oh,
downtown Orlando.
I've been doing that in the caddy too. Well, not not looking for ladies with my lady.
Yeah.
But we went on a cruise about a month ago, and we booked another cruise on the cruise. You feel like a baller when you do that. Like,
yeah. They always push that. They're like, you get a discount if you
don't
book now.
You get no discount.
Oh, well, some of them you do.
I thought you meant that you were on a boat on a cruise, and then they have a tiny boat. That
A mini cruise.
That would be awesome. Like in Vegas, you know, like
a
little,
cruise on a cruise.
Yeah.
Why do you like cruises so much?
Because he's trash. Because he's a trash
Yeah.
Party on a boat.
You just get to like, I don't know. You get to get.
You
like,
don't feel
get
as
away.
bad day drinking.
That's
That's
true.
true. And because everybody around you is more disgusting than you typically.
Especially Pat.
Yeah. Like you're in good shape. Your girlfriend's attractive. You guys are clean.
Young and hot.
You brush your teeth.
But that's the thing. Like, there was something that always confused me about once you, like, if you're a young party guy and you're going out all the time and you're fit like Cadillac Pat is, then I totally understand. Like, you want the party scene. You want the bars. You want the cruises.
You want the Guy Fieri burger bar.
Yeah. You want to be out there and it's
unlimited pickles.
Because, you may not be young anymore, but you're still young enough to have some fun and maybe you pick up some ladies and then that, whatever you want. And so, but then when you got a partner that you can't like pick up any ladies, just her, it feels like it takes 50% of all the bars, the clubs, the cruises, the fun out of it, because now you just got this lady.
Gambling.
This lady.
What I'm saying, you got your partner with you, so you can't like. What's the point of even meeting other people if you can't?
Aren't you about the swinging lifestyle? That's where it goes down.
Well,
in the hot tubs on the.
Now that changes things. If you're looking to cruise and swing, then that's different. But
swing.
I don't think Pat is doing that.
I don't know about you, and I don't know about Pat, and I don't know about Samantha, but I will ask. When I go on cruises, I will just say that the first thing I do, and I've said this before on the show, Andrea Dennis will back me up, cruises make me very spicy.
Yeah,
so when I get there, before we even do the mustard drill, I'm doing my own little, I'm doing a little
drill press.
She knows.
Ooh, nice.
Andrea knows. I don't know if she's in there. She's probably on a call right now. She was in the chat room, but that doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't decrease 50% because I'm going on the cruise to bang my wife and party.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then your partner is like, I have diarrhea from the, or
I have never heard my wife say that.
Or they're like, get away from me.
No,
like,
neither of them. I've never heard I have diarrhea or get away from me.
No.
Or like, I'm not interested.
Not interested.
Those are the three options. Get away from me. I have diarrhea or not interested.
Well, it's like, I'm hot. I'm not, I'm not, whatever.
Turn the AC down.
You're supposed to make it cold.
It's too cold. Whatever.
Get under the
like,
blankets.
I'm
Make some
sweaty.
heat.
No, it just doesn't. Like, that's why. I guess you have to have a partner that just wants to bang all the time.
That likes to have fun.
Doesn't want to bang all the time.
But
She's
then you
not
get
like
tired.
me.
You're like, I've done that a million times. Like, so why are we here? Like, we could have done this at home. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people feel that way.
We hit a really, really low point with you, man.
No, because you want to go.
Oh my God.
Like, why are you gonna take?
What about the gambling casino?
Well, that's fine, but then.
Oh, he doesn't even like that. What's wrong, buddy? You all right?
It's all good.
Doesn't sound good.
Yeah, you sound like you're having a problem. You're making me sad.
Where are you going on your next cruise, Pat?
It's a 7-day. I've never done a 7-day before.
Nice.
It got 5 stops. I don't even know where they stopped, to be honest.
Are you
with
bringing your cable descrambler on the boat?
I'm gonna bring. No, I might bring it. Put some batteries in it. Maybe it'll work.
Now, does that? You need the box though.
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
right?
I just bought. Me and my buddy were just geeking out over this, just seeing this thing, and I bought it on eBay for $7 just to have the remote.
I like how someone thought of selling.
Yeah, I know.
I would never.
Joke's on you. Somebody bought it.
Yeah.
That had to have been.
People collect random things.
It makes me think you should sell more stuff that I often throw
You
away.
can look. There's everything on eBay. Like I
throw everything in your garage on eBay.
If you put the French witch on eBay,
someone will buy it.
Someone will buy it. I feel pretty confident.
For how much?
I wouldn't know.
Well, now
and I don't want to get you into trouble because I know your wife loves that thing. But I'm just saying, I bet you somebody would.
Don't
buy
even
it.
associate it with you in the show.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You
don't.
Think,
I
yeah.
bet.
Yes.
Who wants that
you
garbage?
put it up there as like
some weirdo.
You put it up there as
Antique.
a Swedish or you put it up there as like a Nordic chair doll, traditional Nordic papier-mâché chair doll.
Hold on, I put stuff up for free.
Yeah,
now on the BDM page and stuff.
But then people think it's trash if it's free.
Yeah, okay.
You
So
gotta put a value to it.
it.
Yeah.
Plus, it's coming from you. You need a fake account. If it's you, they know cheaper than or closer than the dump. Like they know all your games. They know all your little scams.
Besides from Cadillac Pat, who has devoted his life to being a 90s superhero.
I don't know what he's devoted his life to. I still can't figure it out, but I'm on board, but I don't know what you're doing. I have no idea what you're doing.
But who else would be interested in an old
remote? His friend. Yeah. He said his friend. You're not listening. You're not listening. He said me and my friend both bought him.
What'd your friend buy it?
I bought it for him. I bought two.
No, he didn't want it.
Best buddies.
There's a gray one too.
No, your friend was just being nice. He didn't want that.
Yeah, he probably was.
my friend's crazy. I think he's autistic. He likes this thing.
Hey, this autistic 90s guy bought me a stupid remote, bought me a porno remote. It doesn't even work. This guy's nuts.
So the 7-day cruise. Let's talk about that because it's too long.
I know. I love the 7-day.
I've never.
long.
I can't wait. Yeah.
I did a 9-day.
But you're still doing like Caribbean, right? Or are you going over to like European?
No, it's Caribbean. Yeah,
Okay.
we leave out of Canaveral. Like,
Gotcha.
but I don't even remember where it stops. To be honest with you,
I'll tell you. It stops at Nassau.
It stops at Poo Poo K. It stops at
St. Martin.
There's something K,
Yeah.
and then it'll go to the islands that split, and half the country owns one, and half the other, another country owns the other. You're like, God damn, you split the island in half?
Dominican Republic.
Yeah. And then, so you stop there. It's all the same. It's all doo-doo K.
Jesus, man.
Get out. It's gray hot dogs.
Welcome to Doo-Doo K.
Yeah. It's like, and then they're presenting an island life that no one lives. Like, there's all these fake, like, cabanas with signs everywhere. Like, no one cares which way New Zealand is. Like, it's all garbage.
Wow. So you must have gotten some email during the break that gave you really bad news because I've never seen you this bad. Have you ever seen it
He's
this
happy
negative?
to crap all over everybody else's joy, which makes you a villain.
No, it doesn't.
Well, I kind of helped him. I'm ride or die because I'm
What
the
am I
one
saying?
that I coined the phrase poo poo K, and I think that's gonna stick. And now I feel bad. I feel bad about poo poo K.
Yeah. I'm not saying anything that bad. I'm just describing the reality. And then, so do you even get off at these islands?
This time we're probably not going to get off every time because I really like being on the boat and like hanging around on the boat. I never get to enjoy it when it's empty because these boats are full of people now that if boats are Corona's kind of over on cruises at least.
Yeah.
It's so you can't ride the slide or get into any of these shows because there's a line to get in everywhere. So, and I've been to half these islands. I don't care to get like Nassau. I might get off because I know a couple people there from going there so much, but we're not going to get off. Like we're going to Hades private island. I don't think I'm going to get off. I don't care.
Hades private island is made out of old computer keys.
Yeah, like I don't care.
Just floating out there.
It's the same. It's just like I wish that and I know the cruise companies, they don't need to do this, but different companies will own different islands or whatever, but it's all the exact same.
Yeah, it is kind of.
Like, it's all just like a sea of white like beach chairs, and then the company's logo,
and then a
umbrellas.
pavilion, and then they have a series of little tables that have sterno, and then they bring out the pot of hot dogs.
Yeah.
And they bring out tortilla chips and runny cheese, and then they go get you a hot dog and go make yourself some unfortunate nachos. And they go sit and watch the birds destroy your plate, and then watch some kids almost drown. You can rent a jet ski,
and then there's some inflatable obstacle course floating in the beautiful lagoon that you're just like, man, you're essing this lagoon up with that inflatable obstacle course.
Well,
which, by the way, no one here can do an obstacle course.
What are the fat people going to climb on if you don't have an obstacle course?
Is morbidly obese. Their feet are falling off.
Most people on a cruise can't swim, can float. Can float. Less of swimming, more float.
Yeah. And then there's the house like steel drum band that's playing. They're miserable.
Yeah, they don't want to be there. And why do they always make them wear white pants with a white belt and a Hawaiian shirt?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's just
that's the look.
I feel like you could wear whatever you want. You could just wear like
That's their
long
uniform.
and ones and a tank top.
Too
I don't know.
hot.
Nah, it doesn't. Got to sell it.
No, it's not sold. No one's buying.
And then inevitably you're always like, let's go in the woods and smoke weed.
Yeah.
Then you're like, you start walking down some dirt road.
And then you see the guy standing there. He's got an M16.
The utility dirt road, like through the mangroves.
Then you're in some place you shouldn't be.
Yeah. And then you stumble upon a house, and then of like some caretaker who lives there full time, and you're like, oh man, this is extreme poverty.
You're about to get your arms macheted off.
Yeah. This is not the paradise you painted in the front with all the chairs and the gray hot dogs. This is poverty.
Man, maybe I won't go on this cruise now.
We're trying to talk you out.
Man, I feel like
I'm just joking.
Now,
Pat.
wait a minute.
I'm mad because you're living your best life.
What if you and your girlfriend
There it
gave
is.
us the money that you're spending on
Haterade.
this cruise, and Tom and I curate a week for you around
It was a-
beautiful Baldwin Park?
It was a
Florida?
pretty penny. You could probably do something pretty nice for me for this one.
And did you buy it on the one you were on?
Yeah.
And how did they get you? Were you drunk and then they're like, come over here? And
No, I wanted to do it. Like the last cruise we went on in November, I was trying. I walked by where they're kind of selling them, and every time I walk by, there's no one there. And I'm like, I was mad that they didn't have someone standing there calling you over.
yeah.
This time
it's like me at Publix with the vaccines. Every time I walk by, nobody there.
no one there. So yeah, this time we waited like in a line to talk to somebody. We wanted to book a cruise.
Were they Russian?
No.
You're a cruiseman. Answer me a question. Why are the Russians... Look, I'm going to talk about it, but I'm not going to talk about what you think I'm going to talk about. Why are the Russians always in the steakhouse? Always. Why?
Yeah,
They're engineering too. Like they're all. Have you seen the mechanics and the engineers?
They got
and
the white
mechanics?
suits on always.
Yeah. They're all Russian or Eastern
Why?
Bloc.
But why are all the steakhouse people Russian?
Yeah, you're right. I don't know.
On every boat.
Or Eastern Bloc, yeah.
It must be some sort
We
of...
no steak.
It's like friends of friends of friends slowly get all their people in.
Yeah. It's kind of like how any sort of little and you name whatever country.
Lausanne.
No, other country
Lil P.
develops in any community. It's always because it started with Adam and Eve effect, right? It started with either two or a group of people.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, that's where everybody that's like me was moving to. So then that eventually turns into little whatever country.
Like right up the
they're
street
from.
here, Little Vietnam. That probably how did that?
You can't say that. What are you doing? Oh my God!
What are you doing? Come
It's
on!
not the '90s. You might dress like it, but it's not the '90s.
So Pat, it seems like with all the partying and the cruises, why don't you
When does it end?
eventually get a boat? No, because a boat seems like your next.
I thought about it. I don't have room. I don't have any place. My HOA won't let me keep a
You
boat.
have to get rid of the Cadillac.
I know. I'd have to get rid of my boat that has wheels with it, but I like my Caddy more.
So you can't.
How many times have you banged in your Cadillac?
Never.
Wow.
It's
That's
too
the
hot.
correct answer.
It's AC works, but
That's
it's
the
hot.
correct answer. I'll give you a fist bump.
Yeah.
Keep it clean. There's no sense in doing that. That's made for.
I just got the AC fixed, so maybe I'll make that happen now.
Do you got a yard, a side yard?
I do, but I'd have to. I've thought about it getting a boat, but they'd have to put a fence so that you couldn't see it from the street, and even then, I would be hiding it from the HOA. And
No, they'll find it.
they'll find it, and I'd just
they'll
be
fly a
afraid they
drone
would say
over.
you can't have. I don't know. I guess I'd have to rent. Then I don't want to have to rent a storage unit like a mile down the road because then I'll never want to go get the boat because you're like, oh, I got to go to the storage unit.
Ooh,
you know what I mean?
I figured it out. You could probably. When did you buy your house?
04.
Why don't you let him use your boat?
Huh?
Why don't you let him use your boat? That way, the boat's getting some
Yeah,
hours
rent out
on
your
it.
boat to Pat.
Yeah.
And then your boat's getting it's since it's always in the water, it'll run really well.
I've offered this to my sister, you guys. I mean,
You
I'm
never
I
have-
can borrow your boat. You've
Yes.
never said
Well,
I
Thank
can
you.
borrow
don't
your
know
boat.
how to-
I almost got up and yelled. You
I have
have
to
never
teach you.
offered your boat.
No one wants to learn anything from me. They all every time I say
You're a liar.
No, my wife. I offered this to my wife.
Well, let's
the
do
wizard.
a day on the boat with Captain Tom where you teach us how to drive your boat.
No,
Yeah.
it's a longer course than that.
Well, how
because-
many hours do we got to log in on this?
No, this is a
well,
Stormy Hill Harley Davidson class.
Because
That's one afternoon.
No, I gotta teach you. It takes a lot of feel. It's like
Yeah,
landing that
it's
plane.
more.
You and you got to get into.
I know how to do it.
No, you're gonna
You
crash.
push it forward, you go fast.
No,
pull it
I'll
back.
have whistling toothpicks driving.
No.
Yeah,
what
you go
he's gonna
engine
crash.
up, engine down. Oh, we going over rocks. Raise the engine. You go, no, we're in the seaweed. Don't get in the seaweed. I know how to do it.
No, I gotta teach you to stay away. You know, there's floating logs.
Stay awake. No, that's fine. I just won't get blackout drunk like you.
No,
Fine.
you have to.
Oh,
Floating logs? There's no floating logs. That's a myth.
There's floating logs. Then there's a boat cops. Then there's getting in to the
I'll
marina.
just
Oh, that's
flashing
the
my
worst
teeth
part.
and I
Yeah,
get out
that's
of
true.
everything.
All I need Samantha is to, put those buoys out and we're good to go.
All right, Pat, we gotta go. You got.
Yeah.
Let's
get your things and get the hell out.
let's plug your job here.
Yeah, I'm at the Brass Tap over in Waterford Lakes every Wednesday through
The
Saturday.
only brass tap.
The only brass tap in Central Florida.
Can we get the manager so they could be a watering hole?
I have asked. I already asked my manager to ask the boss, and I did that a while ago.
Tommy,
and I forgot. but I forgot to follow up. So.
Well, what do you mean you forgot?
No, but I did mention it, and then just
Is your treasure still in play?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I emailed a guy. He's like, hey, some guy watched your video, and you can go back on YouTube and find this guy's comment.
Okay.
I'm not lying.
Okay.
A guy commented and said, hey, I was at Dancers, and Cadillac Pat walked in.
Oh, yes.
And
I have a Dancers quite a bit.
Yeah, and he goes,
quite a bit.
And he goes, I saw this guy at Dancers, and I didn't know he was a celebrity. I want to party with him, and then he wants to party with you.
What?
And he's like, I love Cadillac Pat. He saw you at
Yes.
Dancers, but he was too scared to go up and say hello.
Oh, I love
Let's go
that.
to Dancers.
You want to go to Dancers?
Let's go. Yeah, they know me there by
They get
name.
naked?
Yeah.
Did they reopen?
No,
Dancers?
the kind of they got the little clear pasties.
I hate that. It makes them look like they're It makes them look like they have a scar or something.
Yeah, a little. I mean, I got good eyes, and I can. Sometimes I'm like, does she have nothing on? Like, it's still hard to tell to me.
I got the owners of Dancers' cell phone number. Someone gave it to me.
They change hands a lot.
You're right.
I go there. I don't even look at this. I'm there to mingle. I go there.
Here's
to
a fun
drink
fact.
and
Did you
hang.
know a manager of a strip club, all of them, across the entire North America, they only can hold that position for 5 days before the drugs that they're on force them to quit? That's a fact.
All right, Pat. We'll see you next time.
All right, guys. See you later.
All right. Bye-bye. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I am Dan.
Tom.
Samantha, our producer, is here and on the line with us live via Zoom. Our good friends, Jana and Jason Scheffler, or as Tom calls them, what do you call them?
Scheffler.
The Schefflers.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Schefflers.
How you guys doing?
Good, man. We are awesome. How are you?
I mean,
I've been better. I've been better.
Yeah. It's not that good.
No, it's not that good.
Yeah, like
It ain't easy being rich.
It's not.
Well,
It's not easy being rich.
it becomes where that's the thing. When you first get money, you're like, oh wow, like things are so different. Like I could buy how much alcohol I want, or I get, I could go out to eat whenever I want, or
That's what I like. I was like, I could have McDonald's whenever I'd like.
like, buying like multiple 12 packs of White Claw.
Oh, yeah.
Or like I could just buy like 5 12 packs of White Claw.
I would like
Just take one. Grab one, friend.
Yeah, you could grab one and run out the door, and then have the person go, hey, and then you can come back and say, I was just joking.
But then as time goes by, they're like, you can't drink as much, you can't eat this stuff, you got to eat healthier, you got to live your life this
you
way.
don't have
gotta-
to. Have you seen half
Nah, I
of
know.
Who's they?
Like,
May I ask who's they?
society tells you got to be out, like, don't leave your kids, don't die of a heart attack,
Yeah.
they eat all this stuff, and then they're like, don't do this much, or like stop drinking. Anyway, and then you sit back and you're like, well, I'm just going to work and going home to my family. Like, what's the point?
Yeah,
it's not
like,
that fun.
It's like you get trapped in this perpetual. Like right now, I feel. I told Andrea this the other night. I go.
You're in a
I
prison.
feel trapped. I feel trapped. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm locked in with you. I'm locked in with the kid. I can't do anything I want to do. I can't have sex with other women. I can't drink all I want. I can't do anything because I'm locked into this stupid thing that you've created.
I made this money. I can't even spend it.
Yeah, you hold me back. You're holding me back from
Yeah.
being better. You're holding me back from being a bigger entertainer.
Yeah. And then it's just like,
I hate my family. I hate my life.
I'm going to work, going home.
Yeah.
The same old every single day.
I'm like, is this it? This is the meaning of life? Just doing the same thing over and over and over again? Isn't that the definition of being crazy?
Yeah. It's like,
Expecting a different outcome? I think this is going to make me happy. This isn't going to make me happy. You know what's going to make me happy? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
so what do you guys say about that?
I say that.
I'm calling shenanigans.
No, it's really funny that you guys are saying this because I think that we all have a sentence.
Are you getting a divorce too? I'm getting a divorce.
He is. He told me.
I told him.
I think we all have a sentence that goes on in our head. It's like that internal dialogue, and it becomes a prison sentence that we actually create for ourselves. And like Drunky, you were saying.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
That's for calling him Scheffler.
Sorry.
There's drunkies. One more.
You said that because you knew I went to Clear Channel yesterday.
It's not Clear Channel anymore.
You could smell the Clear Channel on him.
Whatever the hell it is. I was trying to make some deals. Nothing. Didn't even remember where it was.
You just said.
Like, you still have your key? I'm like, I have a key. I haven't worked
No,
there 10 years.
no, they're gone.
Oh,
You
well, what
scared
happened?
I don't know. They
Oh, big clear channel shut us down.
Look, they're
They did.
frozen.
They heard you.
Look at how they're frozen. It
Oh.
looks like she's grinding out a grumpy. If you look right now on our screen, it looks as if Jana is deucing a grumpy in Johnny Depp's bed.
And then Jason looks like Joe Rogan.
He's faux Rogan.
He looks like faux Rogan. Oh,
Like
Are they back?
oh they're gone.
a feminine Joe Rogan.
We lost. Oh, we lost.
Oh, okay. All right. What happened?
Bad internet connection.
Ah.
Oh, they're back.
Oh, there it is.
Oh
They're
my
back.
God! Hold on, you guys were there. Uh oh, you heard what we said about you.
Sorry.
I am so sorry. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, you guys froze, and we froze, and so
It looked like you
I
were
don't even know what I
pooping.
was saying.
That's fine. You were trying to explain to us how to feel better about our boring lives.
Yeah, about our prisons.
So the thing is, you're looking at work as being a prison. Like, you've got to go to work, you've got to go home. What is it that you've got to love what you do? Or
What?
you did at one time.
We did it one time.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I would.
yeah,
that-
yeah.
Now you
Well,
got
everybody loves something for a small period of
Yeah.
time at one time.
Like, right, yeah.
I love my new shoes at one time. Now they're old shoes. I don't love them.
So
Huh?
there's called the law of familiarity, right? Like when you first get into a marriage, don't you want to like rub their feet? And
I've never done that.
take out
You
the
know what?
trash?
I have never rubbed my wife's feet.
Really?
Not even one time.
Even when she was pregnant?
I will. No, I have never rubbed
Wow.
Andrea's feet because feet should not be rubbed. They make people to rub people's feet, like podiatrists, slave people. I don't know. But like, look, I'm not rubbing feet. Now I'll rub your back in order to get sex, but that's as far as it goes. What? You're all laughing like you don't think like me. I just say I'm brave.
Well, how? Okay.
Sometimes you got to start at the feet to get to the back.
No.
You start at the
You're
back.
doing it wrong.
Anyway, so but how do you continue to love whatever after a long period of time? Because I feel like you just get used to it, and the
BB King, the love is gone.
you know, like it just becomes less exciting, and it falls into the regular minutia of living, right?
So Jana calls that the complacency bubble.
It is.
And it's you have to figure out ways to keep it interesting, to keep you stretched, to keep you excited about it. So I mean,
It's curiosity.
Up
and
the
it,
game.
It becomes your own responsibility. We all have 100% responsibility to find what lights us on fire.
What lights you on
Have you
fire?
done an energy audit lately? Like, have you audited what lights you up? Have you taken your day and have you like done a hour by hour? Okay, what's my energy level? Am I at a -10 or a +10? Am I like getting energy or losing energy?
Have you done that, Tom?
Well, it all has to do with when I ingest my Adderall.
Right. Right then we have a 15-minute window of ultimate energy.
Yeah. Then the amphetamines kick in. Then
Yeah.
it's like I'm jazzed up. But then there's a
Hold on a
low-
second. You said that I could not use the term jazzed up, and you just used the term jazzed up.
I said you couldn't use the term jazz hands.
put $1 in the jar.
Yep.
But what if nothing lights you up?
Yeah.
like, what if you look back and you're like, what makes me excited? And then you just keep looking, and then you're like, well, I came back to the beginning.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like when you're. It's
I
like when
went
you
all the
look
way
at
around.
You look at the karaoke book and you can't find a song that you like, so you start at the beginning again. You're like, well, I guess.
Let me see. I may have missed something.
I guess I could do Love Shack. That'll
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, so you can't find what you like, so you find what you'll settle for.
Exactly, which is what I did with my marriage.
Oh no.
I know. See, I know that's not true.
It's completely true. If you don't think for a second that I could have had any woman in the world and I just settled for Andrea, you're kidding yourself.
But the funny thing is she could have had any guy in the world.
I'm not saying she couldn't, but she settled for me. And we all know, like, we both came and we're like, tired. We got tired. And we met each other. We're like, this is work. This is fine.
Get out of the game, baby.
Yeah. It is fine because we have a beautiful daughter and she's amazing. But other than that, everything else is going.
Like, at a certain period of time, you're looking down at all the scratch-off tickets, and you just got to choose one of them.
Exactly.
And no matter if it's a winner or a loser,
And then
you
just
got
go,
to...
give me a 44. I say that guy every morning. He always gets 32, 25, 44.
Yeah. Then you scratch it off, and then you're like, free ticket? All right, that's something.
Do you schedule fun?
No, I do not. Are you talking to me
Tom
or
looked
everybody
like he
else?
didn't understand the word.
He does not understand the word.
I do schedule fun. My wife is real big on, like, we'll pick something to do, and I do schedule fun. Like, you need to schedule some fun, man. Tom doesn't like fun, and that's been like kind of the theme of the last year is that he is getting more and more grumpy and more anti-fun.
Well, my pop didn't like fun, and I think I'm just turning into that. You know, it's the only male figure that I could.
But I still contend that your father loved fun. In fact, he loved it so much it may have, he's like a boatman.
Well, yeah,
like, he's all about the fun.
Well, he got to go out on his boat whenever he wanted. Fishing every day, then the airboat on Sundays. And then my mom was just like, all right, that's how it works.
Your mom, I don't know if you know this. I'm going to say something that might piss you off.
I can't do that.
I'm going to say something to him that might piss him off. Your mom, your sister, way more fun than you.
No. Well, no.
Your mom is really fun.
No.
Yeah, she is.
I mean,
cigarettes and sun-kiss, baby. That's fun.
Fun as hell. Oh, my God. Even if I just deal with the sun-kiss part, it's still fun.
Like, she doesn't have the responsibilities that I have weighing on my shoulders. It's
She had fun when she was raising you guys.
I feel like I'm holding
Your Atlas.
something.
Yeah. You couldn't think of the guy's name.
Yeah.
I'm like, world man. I feel just like world man, holding over the world, the world man.
Don't make me shrug.
I almost cursed and called you an effing idiot.
Well, once you become a... Okay, hold on. Let me ask you guys this. Every adult that I grew up with didn't have any fun. My stepdad, you know what I'm saying? They just sit there.
What was it, Taz?
You killed his fun.
No.
He loved his bird.
That's true.
What was his bird's
Was
name?
it Taz?
Yeah, it was Taz.
Taz. So his stepfather,
A
Tom's
man
stepfather.
that has a bird named Taz likes fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he didn't seem like it.
And, what's another fun thing that
He'd
Steve
whistle
had?
in the
Steve
morning.
had tiny jean
He
shorts that you
whistles.
guys
That's
made.
fun. For him, for old men.
Steve liked tiny jean shorts, and you bullied him and said his shorts were too small and bullied him about his shorts, did you not?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean,
I'm just like, these are all
Oh,
things
yeah,
that,
we-
like, everything
I
he
was like,
enjoyed, you killed.
He looked miserable in front of you because you made him miserable.
Yeah, you were mean to
He was
him,
trying
man.
to have fun.
No,
You were
he
mean to
liked
him.
it. He liked it when we bullied his shorts.
Victim blaming again.
Tom.
When me and my brother used to take them out, we're like, they're wider than they are long. And then we just
Now, let me ask you a serious
Throw 'em
question.
around.
Let me ask you a serious question in front of Jana and Jason. Who in here loves tiny shorts?
I know. I listen.
You do.
I see the error of my ways now.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how good tiny shorts were.
Who would have known that you would grow up to be a man that wears tiny shorts with birds, just like your stepdad,
Yeah.
who liked tiny
But
shorts
look
and
at
birds?
this. It holds everything in place. You can even see it all.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to figure out what is fun to you? I don't even know. I couldn't
a good
even
question.
name
What
anything.
was fun to you when you were 7?
Bullying his
I
stepdad.
think I know. Yeah. I mean, probably, I don't know.
Video games. I don't know. Although that's not fun for me now.
Why isn't it?
Because I was
play
a kid
video
then.
games every night.
But when I was a kid, things were different. Now I feel like that. What am I doing? Wait, I have to work.
So do you,
I have to be stressed out about something.
Would you feel guilty?
I got to drink.
If you came home and started playing, like, let's say, a video game that you enjoyed, would you feel guilty that you were doing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I was a bit like I have
What
to
do
work.
you do where time just escapes? Is there anything that you do where you just lose track of time?
When his wife is talking.
I often escape anytime I'm around someone telling me something, their dreams or feelings. I escape
In the morning,
into my own head.
In the morning, I'll talk to Tom as he stares into his phone, and I know he's not listening, but we just
No.
we both go through it.
Yeah, through the motions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, we got to do this every morning.
I go blah blah blah. He's like, He's not listening to nothing.
Oh, I've escaped in my head.
Do you ever ask other people what's fun for them? Because there are people that have way more responsibility than you do that are having a ton of fun.
That's
Would
true.
you- is
Yeah,
that
but
something you could
he'll
agree with?
explain it away and say that that's not fun. He asks us all the time, and then he poo-poos all over
He'll
our
be
fun.
like, but that's fun.
Yeah, and I guess.
Okay, let me ask you this, Tom. If you could just Google, or if you could spend an hour on the internet and just Google anything.
Oh, Google
Where
fun.
would you
See what- That's how I'll learn. Okay, thank you. Hold
We're
on.
on a corporate time right now.
Daniel's gonna Google fun and see what comes up. Let's see, and go to images so I can see the images.
It's just the band you like.
The
irony of that being your band.
That is
It's the first thing that comes up.
Yeah.
Is the band fun?
Yeah, the first thing that comes, it says fun, band. And it says fun, stylized as fun, was an American pop rock band based in New York City.
I need to get my story
I
straight.
think the question was more
Do
of
it.
if you were on the internet for an hour, what would your search history look like?
Oh, porno.
Oh,
X videos.
There's an XNXX.
XNXX, X hamster,
Yeah.
chatterbait.
Yeah, I never go to that. It's X videos, Pornhub.
Yeah.
XNXX.
Sublime thumbs.
No, that's old.
So we found out where your joy is.
Yeah.
Well, that's not that's just
That's also work for him.
a math holder, and I'm making
And it's silent.
loud. Have you heard a strong man throw a ball over throw the keg? I make that sound.
Up next is Magnus Magnuson with the 400K. Oh wow, he got it right over the stick.
Sorry. So what have you guys been up to?
Yeah, what's been going on?
We're back in Florida.
Yes, thank goodness.
Yeah.
It's nice to be back.
Where were you? What was the last place? Where were you guys last before you got back in town?
We drove through Kentucky after we watched the Kentucky Derby on
Headed
TV.
straight there.
We were like, oh, let's drive through Kentucky and look at some of the.
So you went like a few days late. You were like, if we leave now, we can.
But it's weird.
One day we will put that on our list to go to the Kentucky Derby.
Okay.
But we sometimes I feel like when you don't know what you don't know, I thought that was maybe a bad thing, but it actually has been working out to our advantage because we spoke at a company called Cargill, and it actually, I was kind of like, okay, we'll go and we'll speak, and we pulled up. It's like a really big company, and
yeah, they're the
if I would
number
have known
one
more about
largest company in the U.S. and number 4 in the world for privately held companies. So I probably would have freaked out if I'd have known that.
I would have said,
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know
like
what I'm saying?
that's a big deal. And like, did you guys get any money for doing this speaking engagement?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. In fact, the CEO was like, I think maybe you undervalued yourself. Now, has that ever happened in your life?
Oh my God, all the time.
Well, never that they told me.
No,
Okay.
I've never. There's never been a great reveal. I felt like it before, sure.
So how much time did you get? Were people eating? Because I've heard these corporate speaking engagements often they're rough to do because people the employees don't care. Everybody's getting drunk and eating, and so it's like no one's paying
besides,
attention.
they got stuffed shells.
Yeah,
I love stuffed shells.
Yeah.
No, it was a set appointment, and it was an hour of in front of the conference, like this big massive conference room, and then broadcast nationally internationally.
They had one of those hybrid studios where they had the people tuning in virtually and then people also in the room, and it felt very Tony Robbins like it felt very high end.
That was really cool.
And it was
That is
we
cool.
were really excited about it.
When you're dealing with a $147 billion company, they've got the toys.
Yeah, they should.
What how long did you speak for? And
1 hour. I think.
When you do these things, is it totally rehearsed, or is there any off the cuff stuff that you work in there?
A lot of off the cuff, but there's a solid outline for it.
Yeah, we pretty much talk about when things are going well. It's easy to feel lucky, and when you feel lucky, you start showing up as your best self. You have a different energy about you, and so you start working outside your comfort zone. And when you do that, then you start creating opportunities. And for us, our story is when the momentum starts going the other way. How do you start creating luck when things aren't going your way?
How do you turn it back around? So to put it in your terms, Tom, you just bought 20 lottery tickets. All 20 of them were winners, and you're like, all right, give me a whole stack of them, because your luck just keeps getting better.
Well, that's not how gambling works.
win streak.
I know
Win streak.
You know, that's probably the only thing that makes me happy is gambling. And the reality of gambling is I know that you're always going to lose. So the only thing that makes me happy is the thing that I know 100% of the time I'm going to lose
He's a
eventually.
guaranteed loser.
Tell me this. Do you enjoy losing more than you enjoy watching a friend lose?
Oh, I love watching my friends lose.
Yeah. That makes me feel better.
I only
about myself.
surround myself with friends that lose because it makes me look like a winner.
Yeah. You surround yourself with people doing worse than you.
Yeah.
So then you are the king of S Mountain.
Exactly.
You know, and then you're like, well, I'm doing all better than all my friends, so I'm the best. But really,
You wanted the best.
Very good.
But it's like you're not as good as 90% of society, but you're better than these 5 people.
Yeah, I like that.
You're 1%er on S Mountain.
We are.
All right, make that a shirt. Where's your next adventure to? Because I know, you guys are always out.
Where are you guys off to?
Daytona tomorrow, and then that's for the Realtors Association. That'll be we'll be leaving here at I think 4:00 in the morning, and then next week we're gonna head to Coco, I think, to watch a
Coco K.
Yeah, What'd you say?
No, I said Coco K. Sorry, it came up earlier.
It's our cruise ship.
Yeah, the cruise ship island Coco K comes up often on this show.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's the Disney island, right?
It's all of them. They're
Yeah.
all called Coco K.
Yeah, they're all Coco K.
They couldn't come up with
There's
a
also
more
a great
creative
motion,
name.
I think, called Coco K.
Yeah. It's like
Disney's Castaway K.
Castaway
No,
K. It's all some
They
K.
want to separate themselves.
Yeah, the
from
only
Coco
island
K.
I won't go to is KKK. That's a bad one. I bet it's terrible. There's no islanders on there. It's weird.
So
And then the other thing we have going is we are challenging each other.
Oh, I love a challenge. Ice bucket.
No ice bucket.
Oh.
We are challenging each other to have 100 conversations in person.
Like deep conversations.
Yeah, with interesting people in town. So we've been like inviting people to have coffee. So if either of the 3 of you want to have coffee with us, we would love to like take you out for coffee and just have a real
meaningful
conversation.
yeah, that would make Tom so uncomfortable. I'm down.
can I do? I learned this from Ross Tucker. Is that can I agree to the interview, but then say I want to plug my business that I make money from? Because I like that because it's like it gives you more of a reason to do it.
Well, no, they want to do this. This
Yeah,
is
we're
not.
gonna do this in a Starbucks or something, so that'd be really cool.
Oh,
That'd be
hold
fun
on.
to
This
watch.
is not for entertainment.
No, this
This
is
not for
purely-
money?
No, they're purely.
Why are you
saying-
doing it?
No, they're just doing it to
Oh my
challenge
God.
each other to have meaningful conversations with friends and people they admire.
You're just doing it to be a better people.
So
Yeah.
when you start getting, so you need to find some creative outlet for yourself, Tom. That makes
That's
you
what I
expand.
want.
Oh,
I
no.
have
I
nothing.
keep telling
I have no outlet.
Right. So why don't you get in this 100 conversations with us, and outside of the show, just have some type of real deep, crazy conversation with somebody.
Oh, he has crazy conversations all the time.
I'll tell you how I really feel. Sorry.
So we just started it this week, and already, like Jason had a conversation this morning with a guy who has a software company, and
2 of them now.
I don't know how much information I should give away, but there's people that are working on projects that are so amazing right here around us, and to find out what they're doing, it's been an eye-opener, and we want to just collaborate and find out like what are your ideas, because when you hear what other people are working on, it sparks creativity in what we want to do, and also it allows us to collaborate and start hooking people up.
Let me plug my clothing brand. Everybody's got a clothing brand. right? I got a clothing brand.
Let's start one.
Yeah, Tom and Dan. No, we do. We have one.
We
sell
don't
a
make
lot
it.
of-
No, it's just too. The margins are too small.
Let's start an MMA tough guy.
All you gotta
clothing
do is
brand.
mark up that Airbnb. Make up
Well,
the
that's
difference.
a
Well, no one
disaster.
stays on the
yeah,
weekdays.
The Airbnb is a disaster. We should have never
Is it
done
booked
it.
right now? Do we need to go
Yeah,
there
but it's all
tonight?
baseball
Yeah,
moms.
we
It's all.
need you to book it, but we've had so far we've had 2 scammers and a baseball mom. That's it.
Well, the weekends are good. It's just the weekdays.
Weekends are good, but during the weekdays, there's some
Yeah.
pretty unsavory characters knocking on the door.
All right, Jana and Jason, thank you so much for coming on the show. Obviously, the Jana and Jason show is on all the time. Just search Google for it. It's on there.
Well, start living lucky.
Living lucky.
Yeah.
Yes.
Start. He doesn't.
StartLivingLucky.com.
He doesn't believe in that.
Yes, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. If there's anything we can ever do, have coffee with us.
Yeah,
We will do it.
you know that we're saying we will, and you know we won't. So
Can we record it? Because we just need to work.
I will do it. I will gladly do it. This guy, he'd never do it.
If we record it and we use it as work, I'm fine with it. I can't do it for nothing. All right.
That sense of responsibility.
You guys rock.
We'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
See ya.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Why you got to embarrass me like that?
I'm not embarrassing you.
They wanted to do coffee, and you're like,
well, let's get to work. All right.
Rick Scott. Bye-bye. It is another Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
Samantha, our producers here. Hello, Sam.
Hi.
Check out our website, tomanddan.com. Basically, everything's on there. Our merchandise is on there, and you can sign up to be a BDM member, get extra shows, and we're super excited about this.
You can buy tickets.
Yes, that's what I was going to
to this
say.
event.
You can roll into events, right? Like we're kind of events are happening again, and as Samantha said, and she is so true. It's so true. The Hurricane Party is one of the quintessential amazing events that we get to be a part of. If you don't know what that is, in Sanford, Florida, in the historic Sanford L between Celery City and the West End Trading Company, we're gonna have some of the best reggae bands that you've ever heard. We've talked to the Agro Lights. We've talked to Less Than Jake. We've talked. Who else have we talked to? I'm blanking on some of the
Sierra
people.
Lane, John Ghazi.
Yeah, John Ghazi. And on the line with us right now, this is super duper cool from the band Passafire. It is Ted Bowne. How you doing, man?
I am well. How are you guys?
Great.
Good. Thanks for the time, man. Now, yesterday, I think we were going to talk to you.
Yeah, but you were driving.
Yeah, you were in the middle of driving, and I was gonna ask, does it ever still get tiring driving a bus, a van, or maneuvering things to the venue on your own? Because you guys are pretty DIY, right?
We are, and absolutely it does, especially like longer drives. But when we get into, we were in New York City yesterday, and I was born about 20 minutes outside of the city. I used to go into the city with my parents all the time. So I get excited about driving in New York.
That's
so
cool.
I took the wheel to drive, into the city yesterday, and it is nerve-wracking, but it's a challenge, and we got to where we needed to go, in good time to load in this time. The last time we did this same event that we did yesterday, it was a show on a boat. We showed up like real late, and we weren't able to, have a lot of time to prepare, and it was just kind of
boat show
crappy. So this time we got there much earlier, but yes, I was driving during the time I was supposed to call you guys yesterday. I'm sorry about that.
No. I wasn't even bringing that up as a complaint, more bringing it up because I think it's a testament to the fact that you guys control basically every aspect of your band, and I think that's hella cool that it's kind of always been that way for a legendary reggae band that's been doing it for forever and out of Georgia, no less, right?
Originally out of Savannah, Georgia, correct, yeah. Nobody lives there anymore, but we started the band there in 2003. Yeah.
When you say on a boat, was it some sort of party boat, or was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was that kind of like just a charter party boat. They do like DJ cruises and all kinds of stuff. You just go out around the harbor and you go see the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island.
With Passafire on the boat?
That's pretty cool.
That sounds amazing. That sounds like...
Yeah, it was Passafire. We have Rick Hayes and Gary Dredd of The Movement on tour with us right now, and also a band called Dry Reef from Philadelphia. So it was all three acts on stage on this boat yesterday.
That's not a bad gig at all, man.
Yeah.
Like, is it harder to play? Are you feeling the actually effects of the water, being on the water? Are you swaying back and forth, or is it like a...
Absolutely you are. It's a challenge because, I didn't realize how much I actually lift my feet. And anybody who's coming out to the Hurricane Party, you may want to check that out because I didn't realize till yesterday how much I actually lift my feet until, you're on one foot and you're trying to balance on a rocking boat in the Hudson River. So, it was definitely a challenge for all of us to sort of keep our balance and play at the same time. But we pulled it off.
Ted, when you're on tour, how do you handle your food? Because we talked to a bunch of other bands, and like being on tour, like if you're a comedian, whatever, like you're constantly eating out.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to eat healthy.
And he's not a big guy. I know you've seen him.
I normally handle my food with my hands.
Well, I'm just saying, like, how do because
do you bring it? Are you
are
stopping?
you cooking a lot, or are you just constantly eating? Like, I'm sure you find your go-to
Cooking
restaurants.
0.
Wow.
There's 0 cooking. Eating out pretty much every meal unless it's made in-house at the venue. I don't know that there's really any conscious effort towards managing what kind of food we eat on the road. It's sort of whatever is available at the time. There's not, as you said, we still do a lot of things DIY. We drive ourselves around.
Yeah.
We still do some of the crew roles ourselves on stage and on the road. So there's not a lot of time for cooking our own meals or finding, clean, healthy meals. It's just whatever is there with, in the 15 minutes that you have before you got to go do the next thing.
Yeah, for sure.
That's going to be rough.
Yeah.
It's gotta be gotta be
tired.
hard.
Like you're at a venue and they're like, all we have is chicken fingers and
fries,
cheeseburger,
and then you're just like, God, that's what I ate last night for dinner. Like it's gotta be rough.
Yeah,
people never talk about it.
That's our life. I mean, sadly, that is our existence for sure.
So
it's not. I mean, but I don't really. It doesn't really affect me. I'm not a super health nut or weird about any kind of foods. I'll eat anything. And if it's cooked and available, and somebody is providing it for us, then I'm not picky.
All right.
Yes.
So not only are you the lead singer of Passafire, but you also produce music for other artists, including Oklahoma Stackhouse, which is a local band here that we're going to be working with coming up soon. Do you still have the Lizard Lodge in St. Pete, or are you doing everything at the Passafarm?
I do not have anything in St. Pete anymore.
Okay.
My in-laws live down there at Indy Rocks Beach. But my wife and I purchased the Passafire property, and that's where we are full time when we're not on the road.
That's nice, man. Was it a big? When did you?
Well, yeah. What made you pick Maryland?
Yeah, nice little spot.
Well, that's actually where I'm from.
Oh, okay.
I went to middle school and high school there, and my mom lives there. My grandparents are buried there.
That's cool.
My brother and his family are there, so. I left home when I was 18.
And then went down
Savannah,
to SCAD,
and
Cool.
and then migrated further down into St. Pete for a couple of years, and then we moved from St. Pete to Maryland a couple of years ago. It's 3 or 4 years ago.
It's super cool that you guys, you start the band in 2003. You're at an art school with a lot of really talented, creative people, right? And you're in this area. Is it difficult because just going through your bio, I think even from your team, it says that you guys are this band that's been around for forever, and you take really great pride in honoring the culture that is reggae and reggae music without appropriating it. And I saw that, and it kind of like a light bulb went off, and I had to ask you because I've always wanted to ask somebody that's been in this genre of music how difficult it is to do that, because I do feel like you guys take a lot of time and effort in trying to do what's right.
Yeah.
But how do you go about doing that and making sure that you honor it? Do you check it with people, or do you how does that work?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I appreciate you asking that question. Usually the question is, so who are your influences? Something very surface like that.
Right.
So
that was going to be
diving
my next
deeper
question.
into, I know who your influences are, but why don't you do what other bands do and try to copy their vocals or whatever?
Right.
I've always had a deep admiration for Jamaican culture. I went there when I was 12. I traded a Troy Aikman jersey for Bob Marley's Uprising cassette tape.
That's dope.
And that sort of formed my entire musical landscape from then on.
That's crazy.
And,
wow.
It's much more respectful to me, at least in my opinion, to, if you want to play the music, but don't necessarily try and sing in an accent
Right.
that's not original or authentic to you. You should sing with the voice that you developed, you
Sure.
know, just
Your voice.
naturally throughout your natural life instead of trying. I feel like it's sort of more an acting thing when you do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't want anybody in that culture to look at us and say you're stealing something from us, because we respect it that much. We don't want the original Jamaican artists and the new Jamaican artists that are making huge waves in the reggae scene right now, Chronics and Coffee and Protege.
Yeah.
We want only, for them to see that we have respect and we're not trying to steal anything culturally from them, and that we just, the music is what we love.
Yeah, I love that too, man.
That's it.
Yeah, that's great. We've played Coffee on the show a bunch of times, but yeah, it's really interesting because you do see that, but then most of the time, I think you see it get like kind of quietly shut down by other bands that maybe will pull that person aside and say like, hey, I don't think you should be doing it like that. Maybe try this. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it works for there are bands currently touring that it works for. People don't see it as misappropriation; they just see it as a vibe. And I'm not saying
right
not to do it if it works for you. And
it's just
people
not
like
what
it,
you
so
guys
be
do.
it.
Yeah, I think most people think of like, and I think the chat room hit it on the head. I think that was you, Sam, that in there, like I was thinking Chet Hanks. Like there's you always,
Yeah.
I love
yeah.
him.
Yeah, well, but you see,
that's cringy.
it is so cringy, yeah. And there's a new interview with him that we're actually going to maybe play on Friday's show. That's it's so bizarre. It's just so absolutely bizarre. But another question for you, and we were talking to Jesse Wagner from the Agrolites, and
Who's also very similar in that regard.
Yeah,
he doesn't sing with an accent, but he plays some damn good reggae music.
Exactly, and man, you're on my vibe because you know what I'm going to ask. How hard is it though to collect instrumentation and things that you guys want? Because in some way you want to honor the true reggae music by playing with the the authentic organs and different amps and things that you use. Is it?
Yeah.
Or do you guys still kind of do what the Agrolites do and try to pick that stuff up? Or are you able to kind of use new computers and software to emulate these sounds that might make your reggae and still give it that that authenticity without necessarily, breaking the bank or having to go to every, antique store from here?
I would say in our sound, all of the above.
Yeah.
We've been to Sonic Ranch recording studio in Tornillo, Texas for about, I think, 5 or 6 of our albums.
Yeah.
And when we go there, we use all of their, the B3, the pianos,
Sure.
all of their Rhodes and Whirlies, all of their analog keyboard sounds. And, we do try to strive for, that authentic roots reggae sound when we're out there. But, we don't have that stuff at home. So more recently with Strata, we recorded, I think 80% of that album was recorded at my house and then mixed at Will's studio in LA. So that was all a lot more digital stuff rather than analog.
Well,
that's
but,
awesome.
I think we've grown. We've learned how to emulate the analog sounds better with modern technology.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
It's just, learning process.
Well, speaking of that, Ted, I was going to ask you about modern technology and recording music. Like, what would you say, like, nowadays, 2022, like, what's the cheapest way to record
Oh, I get
an
asked this all the
album?
time, so let's ask a real professional. Yeah, good question.
Like, what's, like, for the least amount of money, or, like, name a price
Yeah.
where someone could get the equipment and then record an album that may not be the best, but is decent.
It'll get you by.
You could be like, all right, this could be played, and for the average Joe, they wouldn't know that it's super amateur or whatever. Like, what's the cheapest you could do that?
To do it correctly, you would probably need like a MacBook. The lowest grade MacBook is okay. So like $1,000 there, or like $1,100 there.
Yep.
And a good mic is maybe $500 to $1,000.
Yep.
And then you need an interface, which is anywhere from like $200 to $1,000. And then you just need the Pro Tools or Logic.
Yeah,
or
we're
the
using
DAW
Logic.
system.
He just set our entire
so,
setup,
you know,
basically.
Logic, what is that, like $200 or
Yeah,
$500?
Oh, you can steal that.
Yeah, we steal it. Yeah, we every copy of Logic we
Don't say
have
that on
is,
the air.
yeah, every copy of
What?
Logic we have belongs to Bill McGillicuddy, who is it? I don't even know who that is.
I say all my crimes on the air. That's where they don't believe it. They're like, no way he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
All true.
We just say theater of the mind.
yeah. But then it throws them off and they never suspect. They're like, who did this?
Yeah, who would be stupid enough to talk about stealing Logic? We would be.
Well, so if you're into that, then you know, that part is free. But if you don't know how to do that, or you know, you actually want to pay for all of it, I'd say probably about $3,000 to $5,000.
That's
to
not bad.
get a home studio set up that would allow you to record an entire album.
Yeah, I mean, that is doable. Like, I mean, I say all the time, I remember when my friends were in punk rock bands in the late 90s, they were paying $1,000 an hour at a recording studio, and they had to
we'd
save
run
up
up
all
to Full Sail here and get the students to record us.
It was like easier than ever to record yourselves as a band. Ted, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
I have to do something. I have to mention something for Dom.
Please.
I have to mention the what is it? Quiet Before the Storm party at West. It's at West End, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The Quiet Before the Storm is like a pre-party with me and Jesse Wagner and Jason DeVore of Agrolites and Authority Zero, respectively. And we're playing an acoustic thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
At West End the night before the hurricane party. So if you're in town early or you just live around there, come out and check it out. It's going to be a little bit different than the next day. It's going to be a little bit more chill vibe, but we're trying to hype up the festival and get people ready.
And that would be awesome. I mean,
that you shouldn't miss that.
And don't sleep.
Yeah, it's only $12.
It's only
guys.
$12.
I mean, come on.
And the acoustic aspect of what you guys do, I mean, some of the greatest videos I've been sucked into are watching just you and your band just noodle on acoustic guitars and just sing beautiful cover songs that you guys happen to enjoy because you're so friggin' talented.
You sing the covers.
You're just so talented,
awesome.
man. You guys, I really appreciate the amount of time and effort that you guys put into your harmonies and everything. It's really well done, and we're super excited to see you guys at the hurricane party and safe travels, and we'll see you soon.
We're very excited to be there. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, man. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you again very, very soon. We'll see you at the hurricane
Have
party.
fun at Sunny Days.
All right, we're excited.
Later.
We'll see you soon, guys.
See ya.
That is Ted Bowne of Passafire.
It's interesting. Maybe it's because I complain too much. I'm
I don't
surprised.
think you complain at all. I just don't think you like fun. You're not a complainer.
Well, I'd be complaining about the fact that I only eat chicken fingers or whatever the hell. I'd be like, yeah, they only have this
but
garbage
you
every
eat
night.
really clean now. You don't eat. None of us really here eat as bad as we used to. When you were back eating a foot-long Italian for breakfast.
But even then, I would get tired of chicken fingers or, no matter what, even on cruises and stuff, after the fifth day, you're just like,
I can't eat one more chicken tender.
Yeah.
But I'll force myself to eat that last Guy Fieri burger. I'll force myself to eat it. I'll be like,
pour the cheese sauce on top.
Yeah, I'll eat it.
It's just bar food, it's fine, but if every night I would be complaining and be like, oh, God, give me I need some poke bowl or something else, anything. I can't eat.
Sometimes you eat a poke bowl after eating nothing but chicken fingers and it make your tummy mad the wrong way, right? My stomach, if you got to either go all good or all bad, but if you go good bad, it's diarrhea city.
You're right.
You got to lean into, you got to pick a side.
Yeah.
It's like
J.B. Wells.
or like Harry Potter. You're either a good guy or a bad guy.
Yeah. You can't fuse both the good and the bad. It creates a hard doo-doo. Sorry.
That happens sometimes where you'll get one. I don't think I could say that. You'll get one where you look down in there and you're like, that thing is dried and cracked like Death Valley.
Oh, yeah.
But then the end of it is wet. And I'm like, well, what happened?
Yeah, that's
it's a combo. It's like a hybrid. It's like a hybrid vehicle.
Like, what happened to something? I'm dying.
Let's get your emails out, Sam. Whoa!
No, let's go to break.
Yeah, let's get the hell out of here.
We'll be right back.